Chapter 1878. Seeing that the elder princess had agreed to massage Jiang Tian's legs and shoulders, everyone present was completely dumbfounded. Ridiculous. It's too ridiculous. Brother Jiang, you're too much. Lin Yang pretended to shout, but for some reason he felt extremely happy in his heart. Probably usually, he was always reprimanded by the elder princess, as if she was reprimanding her grandson. Deep in his heart, he also subconsciously wanted to conquer this woman or see her suffer. At this moment, Jiang Tian was doing something that he didn't dare to think about or dare to do. He only felt very happy. Haha, I knew that the elder princess would keep her word. Jiang Tian was not polite at all, and sat lazily on the recliner. So in the shocked eyes of everyone, Dongfang Yuma stepped forward and obediently massaged Jiang Tian's legs and shoulders like a little maid. From time to time, she smiled and asked softly, "Mr. Jiang, is my strength too light? Harder. Did you not eat breakfast? You're so soft and powerless. I can bear it." Jiang Tian had a faint smile on his face as he closed his eyes. He seemed to be enjoying himself. In fact, Dongfang Yuma was constantly improving her cultivation and deepening her strength to test Jiang Tian's strength. First, she used the strength of the foundation building, then she used the gold core primordial chi and the Dharma. In the end, she even used the Dharma of the nascent soul realm. This strength could even crush a body made of precious gold, let alone flesh and blood. This little brat is simply a monster. Dongfang Yuma tried to invade Jiang Tian's body with the great way of the divine transformation realm. But Jiang Tian was still unharmed, and was even enjoying it. She was so shocked that she couldn't believe it. She originally thought that Jiang Tian was only good at medicine and alchemy. But now, it seemed that Jiang Tian's cultivation had also reached the divine transformation realm. The key was that he hid it so well. From the beginning to the end, he didn't use the Dharma power and the Dharma power. He used his body to resist her Dharma power. Okay. So soft and powerless. I don't like it. Jiang Tian had only slightly revealed his cultivation to give Dongfang Yuma some deterrence. He knew when to stop. The most influential person in the Eastern royal family was the eldest princess. Even Eastern Lu obeyed her every word. Other than the crown prince's faction, no one else dared to provoke the Lin family of the Marquis of Zhenyuan. He slowly got up and went to play with his daughter. AI, it's all because I didn't teach him well. Mr. Jiang has just come from outside the river, and doesn't know the rules of the imperial family. So he acted without restraint and offended the eldest princess. However, all the responsibility lies with little Marquis. If eldest princess wants to punish someone, then punish me. Lin Hanqing stepped forward and bowed. Punishment? Why should he be punished? Could it be that in your eyes, this consort doesn't even have this much magnanimity? Dongfang Moyu smiled gently and said, Mr. Zhang's actions are as smooth as flowing water. Wherever he goes, it's natural. It's different from those servile cultivators and mortals. It's very interesting. I like it very much. Aunt, what do you mean? Dongfang Li's expression suddenly became strange. Why did he feel that the eldest princess seemed to have some affection for Mr. Jiang? However, on second thought, this didn't seem to be impossible. The eldest princess still hadn't married yet. Every time this matter was brought up, his royal father Eastern Lu's face was full of worry. Dongfang Ying's delicate body also trembled slightly. She lowered her head, hiding the emotional fluctuations in her eyes. Dongfang Moyu didn't notice this. Instead, he looked at Lin Hanqing and said earnestly, Marquis Lin, the Hidden Dragon trials will be held in half a year. Little Marquis is only at the golden core stage. You still need to work hard. Your cultivation has always been at the bottom among the sons of the dukes. However, if you let Mr. Jiang teach you well, there's still a possibility of a comeback. These days don't get too close to the Nine Mysteries sect. You also know that the past examinations have always been the purple cloud palm and the Eastern Emperor finger. If other techniques are mixed in, it will be considered cheating. Eldest princess is reminding me. Lin Hanqing was shocked. He looked at Lin Yang. This meant that cutting off the relationship between the noble families and the sects was already the mainstream within the imperial family. Thinking of this, Lin Hanqing cupped his hands and smiled. Fellow Taoist Jiang once said that the imperial family's techniques are unfathomable and worth exploring. Aristocratic families of dukes and marquises should place their talents above serving the country and the royal family. According to his opinion, I have already explained clearly to the 9 Mysteries sect by Flying Sword. Dyer has already withdrawn from the 9 Mysteries sect. Really? This Mr. Jiang is quite knowledgeable. I am very gratified. Dongfang Moyu's eyes suddenly lit up. Then he praised. You are loyal to the country and put the imperial family's interests first. You are truly a model for the dukes. I will definitely report this to my imperial brother. This subject thanks eldest princess. Lin Hanqing bowed. Also, I will remind you of something. This hidden dragon trials may be changed and may use actual combat. The last 20 sons of the dukes will be stripped of their titles and fiefs. Dongfang Moyu said in a low voice. When these words came out, the entire audience was shocked. What will come, will come. It is exactly as Mr. Jiang guessed. Lin Hanqing and Lin Yang looked at each other, their hearts filled with fear. Even Dongfang Li's expression changed wildly. Actual combat. And a battle between cultivators is extremely dangerous. Victory and defeat are determined, as well as life and death. The dukes are all loyal ministers of the empire, and the sons of the dukes are the future pillars of the empire. If there are casualties, wouldn't it be a great loss? This matter was reported to the emperor by the purple-robed marquis, and received the support of many imperial families. In addition, the Duke of Eastern Gorge, the Duke of Northern Frontier, and the Duke of Western Ridge all expressed their support. Although Imperial brother Eastern Lu did not immediately agree due to the importance of this matter, he seemed to be quite moved. Dongfang Moyu sighed. There are many drawbacks to actual combat, of course I know. I also advised him a few times, but he did not listen. In short, Jinyuan Marquis, you should be prepared. Only by increasing your cultivation can you be in an invincible position. She understood the thoughts of Eastern Lu and many imperial families, which was that they did not wish for the dukes to gradually grow stronger. The dukes naturally would not threaten the imperial power if they fell into internal strife. If the dukes fought and hated each other all day, there would naturally be no way to form a unified group of dukes. However, this policy was clearly a double-edged sword. On the one hand, after a long period of implementation, it was bound to lead to the merger and consolidation of the dukes. In addition, there was also the possibility of civil strife and turmoil, which could be used by other empires and forces to destroy them as a whole. All right. Send my regards to Mr. Jiang. I have stayed in the Lin family for several months, and have not returned to report. I have to bring Dongfang back to the imperial city. Take care, Marquis. After saying this, Dongfang Moyu hurriedly bid farewell. Dongfang Li and his sister came to Jiang Tian's courtyard, and thanked him solemnly again. Dongfang Ying was a little reluctant and said with tears in her eyes, Sir, I have to return to the imperial city. After this farewell, I don't know when I will be able to see you again. Not only did Jiang Tian help her reconcile her yin and yang physique, but he also stimulated the potential of the 9 yin physique. Moreover, he taught her the revolving crescent sun will technique. This technique was a saint-level technique, and could allow her to step into the void return realm in her lifetime. Its value was immeasurable. Sister, this is the demon crab cake, spicy arowana, cloud mud date cake I made. Eat it on the way to relieve your boredom. Jiang Beibei handed a bag of food to Dongfang Ying and said coquettishly. Thank you, Beibei. You are so considerate. Dongfang Ying half-squatted and hugged Jiang Beibei tightly. She kissed her forehead a few times, her beautiful eyes on the verge of tears. They had been together for a few months and their relationship was very deep. Sister, don't be sad. Otherwise, your true essence will be unstable and your soul will be in turmoil. Dongfang Li persuaded his sister, then looked at Jiang Tian with a face full of hope. The hidden dragon trials, the entire Lin family will be going to the imperial city to take the test. I think Sir will be going too. And as if nothing happened. Naturally, I have to go see the prosperity of the imperial city. Jiang Tian smiled. Chapter 1879. Hearing that Jiang Tian might be going to the capital, Dongfang Ying's tears turned into laughter. After the eldest princess and the Dongfang siblings left, Lin Hanqing immediately found Jiang Tian, his expression extremely serious. Mr. Jiang, it's exactly as you guessed. The hidden dragon trials will use actual combat. Although it's set to stop at a certain point, it's hard to control a battle between cultivators. If someone really dies, there's no need to take responsibility. Sigh, I suspect that Eastern Lu has been used by some scheming people this time. He originally wanted to use this to weaken the vassals, but in reality, he's been alienated instead. If the vassals are in chaos, the people will turn against them. Without the protection of the vassals, how can the royal family be safe? Jiang Tian sighed. A grain of sand in this era, falling on the head of a person or a family, was a mountain. The reforms of the hidden dragon trials were merely a few lines of words written by the imperial pen. But behind this, how many vassal families were destroyed, and how many commoners were plunged into misery and suffering? It's so scary. Dad, why don't we run away? We don't need to be vassals anymore. With Mr. Jiang as the core, we can set up a pill trading company and make a fortune. Isn't he good? Lin Yang shouted. Bullshit. How can we hand over the foundation of our ancestors to others? Other people's children dare to draw their swords and fight. Why are you so cowardly? After all, Lin Hanqing had experienced the slaughter of the battlefield and the struggle of the imperial court. His personality was much more tenacious than his son's. He gritted his teeth and said, "Besides, if you lose your land and title, do you still want to marry Miss Fang?" Nan and Fang Jinlong place great importance on these things. Uncle Fang is such a stubborn old man. He's a stickler for ancient traditions. Regarding this, Lin Yang beat his chest and stamped his feet, but there was nothing he could do. Yes, even if you set up a trading company, you can't not have your land as a foundation. Otherwise, it's like a tree without roots, water without a source. Jiang Tian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. For example, the ancient medicine hall has so-called concessions in various countries. They occupy famous mountains, great rivers, spirit veins, spirit springs, and spirit stone mines to provide cultivation resources. Isn't it still a country within a country, a country within a country? He saw this very clearly. He smiled and said, "You think that by setting up a trading company and breaking away from the struggles of the imperial court, you can be free and unfettered? Wrong. Although the trading companies mainly focus on commercial competition, when conflicts are truly irreconcilable, and it's a matter of life and death, it's still a battle of force." Lin Yang was speechless. Yes, Lin Yang, you have no way out. In the face of a strong enemy, you can only draw your sword and fight. With Mr. Jiang guiding you in your cultivation, what are you afraid of? Mr. Jiang is an existence that can recreate his Jindan in just a few months. Lin Hanqing encouraged. Good. I understand now. In this world, strength is everything. A deep look appeared on Lin Yang's face. He clenched his fist and said, "Who knows how many people are eyeing our dukedom and fief? If I didn't have the vassal order or my fief, with my cultivation, what qualifications would I have to be arrogant? The reason why I was able to be like this before was because I had a good father and reincarnated well. But without strength, the days of being a dandy will not last long." He sighed deeply and said, "Mr. Zhang's experience has already made me understand. Even if I was a young duke before, no matter where I went, Bai Zhanyun, Li Ludao, Yang Xian and the other dared to humiliate and provoke me. And although Mr. Jiang is only a guest of our family, when he showed his strength, Yang Xian trembled in fear, and Bai Zhanyun knelt down and begged. This is the reason for strength. Dad, I know. I've always been looked down upon. Even you are also looked down upon. My foundation is poor, my comprehension is worse, and my perseverance is even worse. My cultivation was all accumulated bit by you using medicinal pills. But from today onwards, I am willing to follow Mr. Jiang and cultivate again. To become. Lin Yangyi was always flirty and never serious, but this time, it was rare for him to be serious and emotional. Hearing this, Lin Hanqing's eyes became hot and almost teared up. Child, you finally understand father's painstaking efforts. Suddenly, Lin Yang clenched his fists, his tiger-like eyes filled with tears. He looked up to the sky and roared. Go you, I will become your pride and let Uncle Fong see me in a new light. I will marry you grandly. Lin Hanqing suddenly became muddle-headed. How could this child's thoughts be so jumpy? After all this time it wasn't for him, but for a woman. Lin Hanqing coughed softly and looked at Jiang Tian. Mr. Jiang, how do you plan to improve Lin Yang's cultivation? Change the Eastern Purple Qi technique. Jiang Tian said leisurely. What? Change the technique? Lin Hanqing and his son were shocked. The Eastern Purple Qi technique and the immortal martial skills Purple Cloud Palm and Eastern Emperor Finger had existed for thousands of years. After being adjusted by countless experts of the imperial family, it was called a god-level technique and could be said to be perfect. How could it be changed just like that? Besides, Jiang Tian had only seen Fang Goyu and Lin Dai, or practiced this technique a few times and only glimpsed bits and pieces. He hadn't studied it in depth, so how could he change it? Yes, although this technique has a long history, it is still too primitive and simple. There are many shortcomings, especially in the process of opening the dantian and acupoints, condensing the golden core, and transforming the dantian into a spirit embryo. There are many mistakes and useless steps. I have studied it for many days and improved it. Jiang Tian said leisurely and moved his divine sense. In the minds of Lin Hanqing and Lin Yang, an improved version of the Eastern Purple Qi technique immediately appeared. Dad, what is this technique like? It seems to follow the original train of thought, but it is also very different. Lin Yang probed the technique with his divine sense. After about half an hour, he suddenly asked in confusion. Teacher's understanding of this technique is really profound. This is simply a qualitative change. Lin Hanqing couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. After his son asked, he came back to his senses and instantly quivered, shouting excitedly. The Eastern Purple Qi technique was a technique bestowed by the imperial family to the dukes to practice. It was a derivative of the imperial family's technique, the Eastern Emperor technique, and was also a basic technique. He had started practicing this technique a few hundred years ago, and was already very familiar with it. But when he saw Jiang Tian's improved version, he immediately felt that his understanding of this mental cultivation method, as well as that of the previous generations of the royal family and dukes, was very shallow. Under Jiang Tian's interpretation, this shallow entry-level cultivation method actually became the general outline of the entry-level cultivation method, opening up a path to the heavens. Such profound meaning, such comprehension, this was simply inconceivable. Even the imperial family's ancestors might not have reached such a profound level. Moreover, Jiang Tian's profound meaning was not mechanically copied. This technique's profound meaning came from Jiang Tian's mouth, as if he was already the founder of this technique. He had already turned something rotten into something magical, correcting all the flaws in the technique and moves, even surpassing the imperial family's Eastern Emperor technique. This was simply a miracle, inconceivable. But they didn't know that Jiang Tian, who had experienced countless ups and downs, had a set of insights that others couldn't compare with in terms of teaching and dispelling doubts. From Jiang Tian's point of view, the most important thing for a cultivator at the beginning of cultivation was not to have amazing supreme techniques, but to have a correct understanding of Tao and the correct understanding of the fundamental Tao. If one went astray in terms of Tao and cultivation at the beginning of cultivation, it would be difficult to change for the rest of one's life. This would directly affect the concept of cultivation. A cultivator's cultivation usually started from the qi of heaven and earth, to the laws, to the Tao, step by step. It was the same for the cultivation of a certain technique. Foundation establishment controlled the true yuan, nascent soul controlled the laws, soul formation touched the Tao. Cultivators from low to high controlled different levels of power. As for the specific improvement of a technique, it depended on the level of the cultivator at the highest level. Throughout history, the improvement of the East Rising Purple Qi technique had been carried out by dozens of soul formation cultivators and a few void return saints. Their level determined the final level and degree of perfection of this technique. However, Jiang Tian had reached the peak of Hongmeng in his previous life. Although his cultivation base was only at the nascent soul stage, his experience and knowledge were still there. Of course, He could clearly see the crudeness of this technique at a glance. It was extremely easy to improve it. Chapter 1880. It's not that exaggerated. Jiang Tian didn't take Lin Hanqing's praise to heart. He chuckled and waved his hand. In fact, when this cultivation technique was cultivated to the extreme, it still stopped at the soul formation realm. The level didn't increase, but the cultivation speed became faster. I will also cultivate with you, sir. Please teach me. Lin Hanqing originally only wanted his son to cultivate with Jiang Tian, but seeing how wonderful this cultivation technique was, even he was tempted. Maybe he could break through the barrier as soon as possible and directly enter the soul formation realm from the half-step soul formation realm. Thinking of this, he was also excited. He bowed deeply, cupped his fists and pleaded, "We are just verifying each other. Marquis, you don't have to be so polite." Jiang Tian said calmly. Suddenly, Lin Hanqing thought of a problem and said coldly with an angry expression, "Where did Dyer go? These days, she always goes out for half a month and I don't see her. She said that she went out to hunt demons, but in fact, I didn't see any progress or gains. Lin Yang, immediately order Zhang Muyin to find her. Punish him severely. Forget it. Lin Dyer's cultivation is not bad. I will focus on guiding the two of you." Jiang Tian hurriedly stopped him. He didn't like this girl in the first place, so there was no need to invite her to his side and make things difficult for himself. Sigh. Lin Hanqing sighed gloomily. Next, Jiang Tian began to guide Lin Yang's cultivation. Under Jiang Tian's guidance, Lin Yang's confusion that had been troubling him was easily solved, and he was enlightened. His cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds. His physical body, vitality, and comprehension of the laws of the Great Tao were all improving rapidly. Golden Core Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. He broke through a level almost every few days, and it was still skyrocketing, as if there was no end. But he didn't expect that the first to break through was Lin Hanqing. 3 months later, Lin Hanqing's spirit embryo finally transformed into a divine treasure, and his nascent soul grew into a god. The laws of the universe surrounded him, and the Great Tao resonated. His aura soared into the sky like a giant dragon, and his chi soared into the sky, shaking 1,000 miles. "Sir, you're like my second parent. Your kindness is like giving me a new lease on life." Lin Hanqing cried tears of joy and directly kowtowed to Jiang Tian, calling him his benefactor. That was true. He had been stuck at the bottleneck between the half-step to the semi-god realm for decades. Even with the guidance of the Lin family's forefather, he still had a long way to go before he could break through this bottleneck. However, practicing Jiang Tian's modified version of the East Rising Purple Qi was like taking a shortcut. It only took him 3 months to break through the shackles. "Marquis, please rise. This is inseparable from your hundreds of years of diligent cultivation. In fact, you've already accumulated enough. You're just missing that layer of comprehension. I dare not claim credit for myself." Jiang Tian smiled and reached out with both hands to help him up. He felt very gratified. After all, in his previous life, Lin Hanqing had taken good care of him, and even treated him like his own. But in the end, because Jiang Tian had offended Yan Nanxian, his family was destroyed and his family was destroyed. This made Jiang Tian regret it for the rest of his life. Now doing this for the Lin family was his right, and he finally felt a little comforted. After Lin Hanqing broke through, he was even more convinced and respected Jiang Tian's cultivation method. Naturally, he was looking forward to Lin Yang's breakthrough. Inside the imperial palace, the emperor of the Eastern Empire, Eastern Lu, had a pale face and a weak temperament. He hugged his daughter, Eastern Ning, and said with a gratified smile, "I didn't expect that the Jinyuan Marquis residence would have such an extraordinary person. He cured my beloved daughter's strange illness, and even helped her improve her cultivation. How rare." At the bottom of the steps, eldest Princess Dongfang Moyu stood upright and said with a smile, "Brother, that's why I said that there are quite a few extraordinary people among the commoners, and even among the itinerant cultivators outside the river. And now that the cultivation resources are occupied by the aristocratic families, it's extremely disadvantageous for the development of the empire." Sigh. "I completely understand what you mean. The county system is indeed better than the feudal system. But do you remember what happened to Dongfangjie? The vassals have already become too powerful. It's very difficult for us to weaken them. We can only let them exhaust themselves. Eastern Lu's temperament was gloomy as he sighed. The hidden dragon trials is an opportunity. His eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light, as if he had already made up his mind. But the vassals' conflicts will intensify, and they will kill each other. The empire will fall into complete chaos. How many commoners will die? How many loyal officials will be obliterated? A vassal like the Jinyuan Marquis has always been loyal to the imperial family. If he dies in the chaos of war, how can we bear it? Dongfang Moyu said in a low voice. Someone has to be sacrificed. Eastern Lu waved his hand to dismiss Dongfang Ying and sighed. Otherwise, do you have a better idea? The imperial family should take the moral high ground, protect the imperial power, and take the initiative to attack. Dongfang Moyu said with emotion. For example, the Marquis of Purple Robe and the Duke of Northern Frontier have never paid tribute. But every year they ask the imperial family for money for irrigation, military expenses, and disaster relief. Not only are the imperial family dissatisfied, many of the vassals are also dissatisfied. We should unite with the majority of the vassals and clear out the annual tribute they owe. What if they don't pay? Then declare war. Dongfang Moyu's expression was firm. Absolutely not. The Duke of the Northern Frontier and the Marquis of Purple Robe are too arrogant. We can't beat them. Eastern Lu jumped in fright and waved his hand. This matter is too radical. We need to think about it at length. Dongfang Moyu sighed softly and frowned. Sometimes his brother was really too cowardly. Eastern Lu hurriedly changed the topic. Of course, I don't want these loyal officials like the Jinyuan Marquis to suffer in the hidden dragon trials. Speaking of which, how is Lin Yang's cultivation? Has he advanced? He won't be last in the hidden dragon trials, right? Lin Yang is only at the first level of the Golden Core realm. Among the 180 vassal descendants, he is undoubtedly at the bottom. However, if Mr. Jiang can help him advance, there may be a glimmer of hope. Dongfang Moyu was also deeply worried about this and did not have full confidence. After all, the little girl Dongfang Ying's breakthrough was based on a foundation. She was already at the middle stage of the Golden Core realm, and Jiang Tian had used the Heang pill to improve her physique. But Lin Yang had just formed his core. Strictly speaking, he had not even reached the first level of the Golden Core realm. This was like building a tall building from the ground. It was too difficult. Sigh. If this child had been defeated before, it would have been pretty good to be an idle official in the capital. He did not wield power and only wanted riches and honor. He was also free and unfettered. But now he is about to die an unnatural death. Eastern Lu's expression was sorrowful. He sighed. However, changing the hidden dragon trials into actual combat is beneficial to the imperial family. If we don't let those vassals grind down the Duke of the Northern Frontier and the Marquis of Purple Robe, they will have the strength to challenge the imperial family after 100 years. A trace of coldness appeared on his face. He said in a low voice, "If Lin Yang dies this time, immediately persuade Lin Hanqing to use troops against the Marquis of Purple Robe, and encourage Count Nanhe to join in. Defeat the Marquis of Purple Robe for me. In the end, the territories of the Marquis of Jinyuan and the Marquis of Purple Robe will belong to the imperial family. The Duke of the Northern Frontier, the Duke of the Eastern Gorge, and the other powerful dukes will not dare to move." Dongfang Moyu was non-committal. She felt that her imperial brother's method of using the hidden dragon trials to reform and weaken the vassals was too unconventional and risky. Things did not seem to be that simple. Suddenly, Dongfang Moyu said, "Speaking of the hidden dragon trials, little sister received an invitation today. It came from the Marquis of Purple Robe Estate." "Yes, it said that there will be a banquet at the Marquis of Purple Robe Estate in 3 days and little sister is invited to attend. It is said that an incredible joyous event happened at the Marquis of Purple Robe Estate." Joyous event. Eastern Lu's expression was even more complicated. As the monarch of a country, his control over the information of his vassals should be impeccable. But what joyous event happened at the Marquis of Purple Robe Estate? Eastern Lu really did not know. Of course, it was impossible for the Marquis of Purple Robe to invite the monarch to attend a banquet. Firstly, the vassals did not have that much face. Secondly, the laws of the ancestors did not allow this. He did not say it clearly in the invitation. He only said that it was related to his beloved son, Ziyunxiao. Could it be that his son Ziyunxiao had a breakthrough in his cultivation? If it was such a small matter, Eastern Lu would not take it to heart. He waved his hand. Since you have been invited, you should go. This Marquis of Purple Robe, haha. Dongfeng Moyu's expression was also somewhat complicated. He was also clear about his imperial brother's fear of the Marquis of Purple Robe. Although he was below the four great dukes, his position was high and he held great power. He had a powerful army and was almost at the point where his might could shake the emperor. Thinking of this, Eastern Lu's heart burned with anxiety. He picked up the imperial brush and read a few lines on the memorial. He said coldly, "Announce it to the entire nation. From this year onwards, I have agreed to the Marquis of Purple Robe's suggestion. The Hidden Dragon trials will be conducted in the form of actual combat, to encourage the cultivation of the vassals." Chapter 1881. Red Maple City, Jinyuanhou Residence. After 4 months of hard work, Lin Yang soared all the way to the peak of the Jindan stage, half a step away from the Yuanying stage. On this day, Lin Yang finally came out of seclusion. Cultivation cannot only be done in seclusion. It also requires actual combat and experience to develop battle awareness, stimulate potential, and accumulate battle experience. Jiang Tian planned to bring him out of the city to hunt demon beasts after he came out of seclusion. "Haha, son, you finally came out of seclusion." Seeing his son break through so quickly, Lin Hanqing was very happy. The haze on his forehead was also cleverly hidden. Yes, practicing Mr. Zhang's improved cultivation method is like having the help of the gods. Everything is naturally formed. In the Hidden Dragon trials, that's nothing. Lin Yang felt very strange. His previous cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. Every time, he was tired and panting, but the progress was slow. But this time it was like going with the flow, incomparably carefree, progressing at lightning speed. That's good, that's good. It's all thanks to Mr. Jiang. Lin Hanqing was full of praise. Right, father, what were you looking at just now? It seemed to be an invitation from someone. I saw that you seem to have a lot on your mind. Lin Yang suddenly asked. This, haha. Son, you didn't care much about family matters before. You don't have to worry about these things. Lin Hanqing laughed, trying to change the topic. Father, you protect me, but there has to be a limit, right? Aren't you afraid that I'll be spoiled into a good-for-nothing? Hee son, look at what you're saying. A father protecting his son, isn't that right and proper? Actually, it's nothing much, just that the Purple Marquis sent an invitation, saying that he wants the Southern Marquis to attend a banquet to celebrate a joyous event that happened in his Purple Marquis residence. Purple Marquis residence? They don't have good intentions. I heard that the Purple Marquis young master Ziyunxiao broke through to the Yuanying stage. The Purple Marquis is holding a banquet, inviting all the Southern Marquis to celebrate. But you don't have to worry about this. Father naturally has a way to deal with it. Just focus on cultivation. Lin Hanqing smiled. Wrong. Brother Jiang said that cultivation and combat strength are two different things. If you really want to become an expert, you have to gain experience. Lin Yang confidently said. Originally, we planned to go outside the city to find some demon beasts to hunt. But now it seems that we will use Purple Marquis as practice. Afraid to move forward? Avoiding provocation? This was the behavior of the weak. In this life, I want to be strong. Eastern Lu has already decided that the Hidden Dragon trials will be conducted through actual combat. I'm worried that Ziyunxiao might challenge Lin Yang at this banquet. Do you want to avoid him, or do you want to accept his challenge? Please make your decision. Lin Hanqing had mixed feelings as he looked at Jiang Tian. Her son had grown up and knew how to share her burdens. Of course, she was happy. However, this trip to Purple Marquis was fraught with grim possibilities. Let's go take a look. Jiang Tian said leisurely. Don't worry. Even if Lin Yang's cultivation is not as good as him, His combat power must surpass him. Besides, as long as I am present, no one can hurt Lin Yang. 3 days later, Jiang Tian, Lin Yang and Lin Hanqing rode on a dragon horse carriage, passing through Xinji Forest and arriving at Purple Marquis territory, Jianghan City. Jianghan City was 3 times larger than Maple City. Its location was superior, the area was prosperous, and the buildings were majestic. Maple City could not compare to it. Purple Marquis occupied more than half of Xinji Forest and was very rich in resources. The dozen or so small cities in the Red Rock Basin were also vassals of Jianghan City. In terms of fief and family power, he was second only to Nanhe Bofang Jinlong. Since they were going to attend the banquet, Lin Hanqing also wanted to prepare a congratulatory gift, but was rejected by Jiang Tian. Since there would be a battle sooner or later, why waste money? Just bring something, if you want it or not. One must know that Purple Marquis was very ambitious. Previously, because Lin died, or injured the princess, he attacked Jinyuan Marquis, and even wanted to deprive Jinyuan Marquis of the Lin family of their fief. Purple Marquis was ranked in the 20s among the 108 Marquis of the Empire, and could be considered a tyrant. However, when he arrived at Jianghan City, no one came to greet him. It could be said that Purple Marquis was extremely arrogant. Fortunately, Jinyuan Marquis Lin Hanqing was a kind person, and had made many connections among the Marquis. These familiar colleagues had arrived first. When they heard that Purple Marquis had arrived, they went out to greet him and accompany him, so that he would not lose too much face. Haha, Brother Lin, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Finally you are here. When they arrived at the Marquis's residence, Purple Marquis finally went out to greet them. His steps were majestic and domineering. He was worthy of being a peerless expert second only to the 4 great dukes. Behind him, there was a young man dressed in luxurious clothes. He was vigorous and had a proud look in his eyes. His aura was strong and unrestrained. He was majestic and had the style of his father. Looking at his cultivation, he was already at the 2nd level of the nascent soul stage. This was his beloved son Zi Yunxiao. You flatter me, you flatter me. Yunxiao, this child's cultivation is so fast, it is really worthy of celebration. Seeing this scene, Lin Hanqing was also secretly shocked as he repeatedly congratulated Yi Qingyu. He originally thought that Purple Marquis held a banquet to celebrate, and invited all the Marquis, because Zi Yunxiao had broken through to the nascent soul stage. He did not expect that this child had already stepped into the 2nd level of the nascent soul stage. This was suppressing his son. How could his cultivation be so fast? Could it be that he had a famous teacher to guide him? Marquis Lin, we meet again. I heard that your residence was attacked a few months ago. Are you okay? Who did you offend? I heard that there was a divine transformation stage expert. The Marquis of Shanshui and Li Ludao also followed behind Purple Marquis. When they saw Jiang Tian, their faces were filled with deep resentment. However, they did not act on the spot. Instead, they laughed gloatingly. These words were clearly mocking Jiang Tian for offending Bai Zhanyun, causing the Duke of Northern Frontier's assassins to take action. This caused the Lin family to suffer a great loss. This kid is the root of the Lin family's disaster. No matter. There are some losses, but it will not harm the foundation. As for the mastermind behind the assassins, we have not found out. However, many of the assassins were killed. I think the mastermind will not dare to play any tricks. Lin Hanqing forced a smile and said a few polite words. He felt a little uneasy. However, when he thought about how he had Jiang Tian with him, he gradually calmed down. Come, the banquet is ready. Brother Lin, you are today's guest. You must accompany me to the seat of honor. Purple Marquis was brimming with enthusiasm. However, Lin Hanqing always felt that this guy was up to no good. The seat of honor was not so easy to sit in. In this kind of noble family, there was an order of seniority. The most important thing was the seating arrangement. Although Jin Yuanho's status was not bad, it was not high enough for him to sit in the seat of honor. How can that be? Brother Purple Marquis, you do your thing. I'll just sit with these old brothers. Jin Yuanho subconsciously wanted to stay away from him. The guest should follow the host's wishes. Besides, I have something important to discuss with you today. Sitting together makes it easier to talk. Purple Marquis insisted again and again, as if you don't agree, I won't let you go. Since Purple Marquis is so generous. Marquis, why delay it? Don't ruin Purple Marquis's mood. Jiang Tian said with a smile. Ah, I heard that Princess Dongfang has returned to the imperial city. How is her condition? She can't be cured. Seeing Jiang Tian speak, Purple Marquis glanced at him and mocked him. The news of the little princess's recovery was kept a secret by the imperial family. Therefore, Purple Marquis did not know the news. In his opinion, it was impossible for Jiang Tian to cure the princess in a short time. The imperial medical hall was not for decoration. Even those national divine doctors could not cure her. You, a rogue cultivator from outside the river, can do it? What a joke. If I can't cure her, will the second prince let me go? Jiang Tian laughed. Sir is still very confident. I hope Sir is still so confident. Purple Marquis did not believe him at all, but he was too lazy to argue with Jiang Tian. He said with a smile. However, this is the seat of a marquis. You can only sit in the guest seat for now. Go over there and have fun. This marquis will not greet you one by one. Although his words were nice, he was clearly reminding Jiang Tian to pay attention to his status as a servant. A mere guest of the Lin family was not qualified to sit with him, the Purple Marquis. Chapter 1882. Zi Yunxiao, Li Ludao, and Marquis Shanshui all looked at Jiang Tian mockingly. Haha, good. Please help yourself, Marquis. Jiang Tian didn't care about Marquis Shanshui's rudeness, and ignored their mocking gazes. He casually cupped his hands, and went to find a seat with Lin Yang. The two arrived at the seats for the heirs and guests. They found a suitable seat, and were about to sit down. Suddenly, a figure flashed across the seat. It was Li Ludao who took the first step and sat down. This seat is not for trash and servants. Li Ludao was wearing a long robe. His red nose was very conspicuous and his sharp mouth showed a hint of mockery. Not only did he sit down boldly, but he also stretched one leg over another seat, occupying the other two chairs. Back then, the Haotian sect was tricked by Jiang Tian and brazenly injured his Dantian. His father, the Marquis of Shanshui, was bullied by Jiang Tian in the Lin family. He slapped himself in the face until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen. So much so that the Li family of the Marquis of Shanshui became the laughingstock of the empire. At this moment, he took the opportunity to humiliate Jiang Tian and Lin Yang in front of everyone. Monkey Li, you called me trash. May I ask what kind of material you are? Your Dantian must have been smashed to pieces. Lin Yang directly retorted. Haha. The fragrant medicine house gave me medicine to repair my Dantian. After half a year of hard work, I have returned to the peak and my cultivation is at the peak of the Golden Core realm. Sorry, this seat is only for cultivators at the middle stage of the Golden Core realm and above. You seem to be at the first level of the Golden Core realm. No, you just formed your core. Li Ludao was proud of himself. Then he pointed at a lonely table in the corner and said with a smile, That's right. That's for core formation and foundation establishment cultivators. These trash and servants sit there. You go. As soon as he said this, there was a burst of laughter. Everyone's face was full of mockery as if they were watching a monkey show. Clearly, this was a scene that had been planned long ago, waiting for Jiang Tian and the others to embarrass themselves. Lin Yang flew into a rage. Grandson, you're asking for a beating? Li Ludao was calm and unruffled. He smiled faintly. Trash Lin, you're just a mere core formation cultivator. When did you have the confidence to beat a peak golden core cultivator? While speaking, Li Ludao suddenly stood up. His Dantian was roaring, his Jindan was trembling, and a vast amount of primordial qi was surging. The Dharma form of perfection like water appeared behind him, and a wave of threatening qi was pressing towards him. If you want to be tortured, I'll fulfill your wish. The atmosphere was tense, as if a fight was about to break out at the slightest disagreement. Just as everyone was waiting to see Li Ludao tyrannize Lin Yang, suddenly, a loud and clear voice announced, Eldest Princess Dongfang Mayu and Little Princess Dongfang have arrived at the Purple Marquis Mansion. Then the sound of drums and horns could be heard. The princesses is. Let's go welcome. At this moment Lin Hanqing, the Marquis of Shanshui and the other marquises could no longer sit still. They all stood up with nervous and excited expressions. Royal Princess Dongfang Moyu was a divine transformation cultivator. She was the goddess of war of the royal family, and was highly valued by Dongfang Lu. More importantly, she was the chief examiner of the hidden dragon trials. She was the one who decided their future. Who dared to offend her? The princess is here personally. Her presence brings light to the small Marquis mansion. Even the purple Marquis, even if he was harboring evil intentions, had to show enough respect and face on the surface. He stood up, and with a face full of smiles, he led everyone out of the door. After all, it was not the time for the final battle. Many disciples also left their seats. According to the order of seniority, they stood respectfully on both sides of the road. They were as silent as cicadas in winter. The princess was very strict with the disciples of the noble families. Many disciples who broke the law were punished by her, and even stripped of their cultivation. Jiang Tian took the opportunity to sit down and drink by himself. Very quickly, Dongfang Mou brought Dongfang Ying and walked in gracefully, smiling as they greeted everyone. At this moment, Li Ludao suddenly stepped forward and pointed at Jiang Tian. He complained, "Princess Royal, please look. This person is a guest of the Marquis of Zhenyuan's mansion. But the Princess Royal is here, and he's still sitting and drinking. This is disrespectful to the royal family." Everyone immediately looked at Jiang Tian. They saw Jiang Tian drinking wine and playing with the communication jade tablet. "Sir, you're still playing with the communication jade tablet? Is there something urgent? The Princess Royal is here. Give her some face. Don't embarrass her." Lin Yang couldn't help but remind him. The third hallmaster of the ancient medicine hall's Icebound City branch, Old Xing, said that the first batch of sky-mending pills has been refined and is ready to be released into the market. He came to tell me the good news, but there was no one in Maple City. I told him to come here. Jiang Tian sat calmly as if he didn't care about the Princess Royal at all. This kid is unlucky. When the Marquis of Shanshui saw this, he immediately laughed sinisterly and gloated. "Jiang, this time, you're going to suffer. This is the Princess Royal. She's here, but you're still sitting there and not greeting her." Many nobles looked at Jiang Tian. Some looked at him with sympathy, some gloated, and some looked anxious. Hey, this little bastard. Chapter 1883. Damn, it seems that not only did he cure the princess, but he also taught her some cultivation technique to improve her cultivation. It's too terrifying. This time, Zhenyuan Ho has gained a firm foothold. What is the background of this person? His medicinal skills are so heaven-defying. Everyone was shocked. This grandson is so lucky to be valued by the royal family. I'm afraid that even Lin Hanqing, this fool, is valued by the royal family. However, Marquis Purple Robe's expression became a little ugly. His plan would not be obstructed by Dongfang Moyu, right? Even if you cured the little princess's strange illness, you can't be disrespectful to the eldest princess. There are many imperial doctors who have cured the strange illness of the royal family. Which one doesn't kowtow to the eldest princess when they see her? You are still so disrespectful to the eldest princess. Isn't that a heinous crime? Suddenly, Marquis Shanshui shouted with righteous indignation. The eldest princess was dignified and valued the dignity of the royal family the most. Whoever dared to offend her would be severely punished. Eldest princess, do you really want me to kowtow to you? Jiang Tian sipped his wine cup and looked at the eldest princess frivolously. Although I don't want you to kowtow to me, you have to give me some face. The eldest princess secretly criticized, but said with a faint smile, "All right, Marquis Shanshui. Today is a joyous day for the purple robe Marquis. Let's not cause any more trouble. Massage my legs and shoulders." Jiang Tian suddenly said inexplicably, "This little bastard, you're forcing me to deal with Marquis Shanshui." The eldest princess glared at Jiang Tian, but Jiang Tian ignored her. The eldest princess couldn't help but feel depressed. However, she had to deal with him. If she didn't, Jiang Tian would reveal the bet and force her to massage his legs and shoulders in public. Then she would really be embarrassed. Marquis Shanshui pointed at Jiang Tian and shouted angrily, "Bastard, what do you mean? Who do you want to massage your legs and shoulders? Believe it or not, I'll beat you up." His outburst was exactly what the eldest princess wanted, giving her a reason to flare up. The Grand Princess slapped the Marquis of Shanshui's face and angrily shouted, "Back off! Mr. Jiang is a member of the Imperial Medical Hall, a member of the royal family. How can you berate and threaten him? Are you trying to disrespect the royal family?" Ah, he became an imperial physician? The Marquis of Shanshui could not believe it and jumped in fright. If Jiang Tian had only cured the little princess, there would be nothing to be afraid of. With his status, he was just a guest of the Lin family. However, now that he had become an imperial physician, he could not offend him. The Marquis of Shanshui hurriedly prostrated himself on the ground. "This old servant dares not. This old servant wouldn't dare." The eldest princess ignored him and entered the banquet under the escort of many vassals. However, the little princess sat down beside Jiang Tian and asked all sorts of questions. Her beautiful eyes were bright and lively, and she was full of smiles. But for some unknown reason, when she saw this scene, the eldest princess felt uncomfortable in her heart. She coldly reprimanded, "Inger, come over here and sit by your aunt. There is a difference between the monarch and his subjects, and there is an order of seniority. What are you doing sitting there? Do you still want the dignity of the royal family?" "Mr. Jiang, I made some demon crab cakes again. Please try it, I'm going." The little princess seemed to have more vitality than before. She naughtily stuck out her tongue, left a bag of cakes, and quickly left. "You old man, you don't have the slightest ability, but you have repeatedly provoked me. You have been slapped repeatedly, but you still don't remember. You deserve it." Jiang Tian ate the cakes made by the little princess, glanced at the Marquis of Shanshui, and said with a smile, "He is old, he has dementia, his memory is not very good. We have to forgive him." Lin Yang echoed and played the role of a supporting actor. "Yi." The Marquis of Shanshui was depressed to the extreme. He was so anxious that he vomited blood again. "You are vomiting blood everywhere. You are not hygienic. What if you scare the children?" Jiang Tian ridiculed. "What Mr. Jiang said is very reasonable. Even if you can't scare the children, it's not good to scare the flowers and plants. It's unforgivable," Lin Yang said. The Marquis of Shanshui and Li Ludao were so angry that they wanted to cry. Li Ludao sneered, "Lin Yang, don't be so proud. I will get back at you sooner or later." However, because of this, many of the noble disciples no longer dared to provoke Jiang Tian, and they all retreated. For a moment, the seats around Jiang Tian were empty. Life is as lonely as the snow. No one dares to provoke us, so we can trample on them. Lin Yang was extremely proud, but his face was very bored, and he was speechless. The eldest princess chatted with everyone for a while, and suddenly, another distinguished guest arrived. It was the housemaster of the fragrant medicine house, which caused an uproar. Even the eldest princess smiled and greeted him. The housemaster Wang of the fragrant medicine house was only below the eldest princess in terms of seating, but above the Marquis of Purple Robe. The fragrant medicine house was an elixir sect that was second only to the ancient medicine hall. In the entire Saint Origin world, the fragrant medicine house's strength was only below the 5 sacred grounds and the 10 divine sects, and it was ranked in the top 20. It was also a business, and its wealth was comparable to that of a country. It had more than 10 divine transformation realm cultivators, and it was terrifying and powerful. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 rounds of dishes, Purple Robe pulled Lin Hanqing and said with a smile, "Brother, I have a presumptuous request, and I hope you can give me some face. I want to rent your herb garden in Xianji Forest Tiger Head Ridge. 10 million high-grade crystal stones a year. What do you think?" "Fuck your mother. Why don't you just rob?" Lin Yang's face suddenly changed. Seeing Jiang Tian's puzzled face, he quickly went to Jiang Tian's ear and explained. 30 years ago, Jin Yuan Ho found a piece of land with a half-spiritual vein in Xianji Forest. Therefore, the Jin Yuan Ho residents had always had a big business deal with the Fragrant Medicine House, which was to help the Fragrant Medicine House cultivate spiritual herbs. However, in the past few years, Purple Robe Marquis had found Jin Yuanho several times and proposed to rent the herb garden with a half-spiritual vein. It was not impossible for marquises to rent land. However, Purple Robe Marquis's price was too low. Jin Yuanho's annual income from the herb garden was more than 100 million high-grade crystal stones. And Purple Robe Marquis was only willing to pay 10 million high-grade crystal stones as rent. Wasn't this daylight robbery? It was simply daylight robbery, unscrupulous and unrestrained. Hearing this, Lin Hanqing was so angry that his hands were trembling. After hesitating for a moment, he refused. The territory of the Marquis of Jinyuan's Lin family is less than a third of yours. Furthermore, it is a remote and desolate place with no source of income. The entire household's expenses, the hundreds of people's daily necessities, as well as the guards, city guards, and patrolling guards' commissions and salaries, mostly rely on the income of this herb garden. Marquis's proposal is equivalent to cutting off one of my main sources of income. Once I lose it, I can only drink the northwest wind. I really can't comply. It has to be said that with Lin Hanqing's temper, it was not easy for him to speak in such a humble manner. If it were another occasion, Lin Hanqing would have already slammed the table, flicked his sleeves and left. Brother, you are making it difficult for me. Purple Robe Marquis's tone became serious. Haha, Marquis Lin, you don't have to do anything, and you can receive 10 million high-grade crystal stones every year. This is a business without any cost. Why do you refuse? Another Marquis pretended to persuade. That's right. This business of sitting on the ground and collecting money. If it were me, I wouldn't even frown. The Purple Marquis is the first Marquis, the fifth Marquis among the Marquises. To be able to become brothers with you is a great opportunity that many people can't even dream of. But you don't know how to cherish it? Another Marquis echoed. Marquis Lin, we Marquis are of the same breath and branch. There is no need to be so calculative. Li Ludao said hypocritically. Isn't that right? Your awareness is too low. Old Lin, you see, the Purple Marquis is the first Marquis, and Zi Yunxiao has reached the nascent soul stage. Moreover, he has been chosen by a hidden sect. The Purple Marquis's lineage is destined for endless wealth. You have gone against the Purple Marquis's intentions and brushed away his face. Won't your future path be narrower and narrower? Marquis Shanxue directly threatened. These people were all existences that depended on the Purple Marquis. It sounded like persuasion, but in reality, it was threats, coercion, and aiding the evildoer. There were many things that the Purple Marquis could not say too straightforwardly, but they were here to help him be the bad guy. Chapter 1884. One had to say, if it wasn't for the fact that Lin Hanqing was naturally a tough nut to crack, any other duke would likely be unable to withstand such a situation. However, Lin Hanqing shook his head resolutely. All of you don't need to say any more. Everyone knows how to say nice things. If I were to ask you to gouge out your flesh and dig out your hearts, I'm afraid you wouldn't be so generous or have such a high level of awareness. While they were in a deadlock, owner Wang of the Fragrant Medicine House coldly laughed. Marquis Lin, through our cooperation with the Purple Marquis over the past 2 years, we have discovered that their ability to nurture elixirs far surpasses yours. As for the spirit herbs you cultivated, they couldn't reach our standards. Therefore, after discussion among the upper echelons of the Fragrant Medicine House, we've finally unanimously decided that we will not accept any spirit medicine from the Jinyuan territory in the future. The previous cooperation between our two houses will also end here. When these words were spoken, Lin Hanqing's expression immediately changed. The reason why he was so stubborn and unwilling to rent this half-spirit vein territory to the Duke of Soaring Dragon was because of his partnership with the Pill King Garden. From this relationship, he could reap considerable profits every year. But now, the boss of the Fragrant Medicine House had personally spoken that they would end their partnership and ban all spirit medicine from the Jinyuan territory. This was taking drastic measures to deal with the problem. Lin Hanqing asked hoarsely, "Landlord, do you really have to be so ruthless?" The landlord of the Fragrant Medicine House said faintly, "A wise man submits to circumstances. Duke Lin, your mistake is that you've always been ignorant of the situation and unable to see the situation clearly." How was this persuasion? This was obviously knocking on Lin Hanqing's head. Lin Hanqing had actually been holding back the evil fire in his belly for a long time. The landlord's words finally ignited the anger he'd suppressed for a long time. The anger he'd suppressed for a long time exploded in an instant. Lin Hanqing suddenly stood up from his seat and laughed loudly. Good, good. All of you put on an act, but are actually scheming as barbaric bandits. Let me tell you, I, Lin Hanqing, am not a bodhisattva made of clay. I can earn less money, or even not earn at all, but one must have a backbone. I, Lin Hanqing, will not sell this backbone even if it costs half a tael. The fragrant medicine house is it? Want to ban my Jinyuan Duke? Doesn't matter. Even if I use that half-spirit Vane's land to rear pigs, I won't let you bandits get away with it. Lin Hanqing erupted. His eruption was very sudden and very thorough. It turned out that the feeling of exploding was so good. Lin Hanqing felt that all the resentment in his stomach had been vented out at this moment. Following his outburst, the entire banquet suddenly became incomparably quiet again. In an instant, the entire banquet fell into a dead silence. No one had expected that he would not hesitate to fight to the death with the purple-robed marquis. For a moment, several marquises who were on good terms with Jinyuan Ho were worried for Lin Hanqing. It was said that some time ago, the Jinyuan Marquis residence had suffered an earth-shattering assassination attempt and suffered heavy casualties. It was already like a candle flickering in the wind, difficult to continue. If they offended the purple marquis, how could they survive? The neutral dukes all lowered their heads, not daring to make eye contact with Lin Hanqing. He was afraid that purple marquis would mistakenly think that he supported Lin Hanqing and bring about a fatal disaster. However, the eldest princess Dongfang Moyu surprisingly did not express her opinion. She only sipped her tea lightly, as if she was watching a good show from the sidelines. The reaction of Lin Hanqing and the eldest princess, while shocking the purple-robed marquis, was slightly relieved. In his opinion, as long as the eldest princess didn't make a move to stop him, Lin Hanqing would only temporarily lose his reason. With his threats and promises, Lin Hanqing would sooner or later understand the logic of a single tree being unable to hold up the ground. What kind of waves could he cause? However, amidst this silence, a voice suddenly rang out. A cold voice rang out. Well scolded, you scolded to your heart's content. As expected of the Jinyuan Marquis. As expected of a loyal descendant. I am curious, you so-called dukes, so-called nobles. Do you really not have a single hard bone in your body? The territory of our eastern kingdom, the people, must be defended by you spineless, mediocre people who only know how to curry favor? Do you not have the slightest bit of dignity as a noble, a minister, a pillar of the country? Apart from currying favor, bullying the good and fearing the evil, you really can't do anything else? Your ability is only left with helping the tiger do evil, supporting the strong and stepping on the weak, suppressing your colleagues, robbing your colleagues of their territory, and plundering their interests? Everyone looked over and found that it was Jiang Tian, who was sipping his wine while spouting nonsense. For a moment, many marquises were shocked and angry, and also a little ashamed. But the Marquis of Shanshui shouted excitedly again, Bastard! You, a rogue cultivator from outside the river, a mere refugee from the remote countryside. Are you qualified to spout nonsense here? Get out! This kid, don't spout nonsense all day long, and act without any manners. But Dongfang Moyu's beautiful eyes bloomed with splendor, and she looked at Jiang Tian with gentle ripples. She only felt that Jiang Tian's words were incomparably pleasing to the ear, like listening to heavenly music, too pleasant to listen to. What did Jiang Tian mean by these words? The alliance of dukes. Powerful dukes annexed and devoured the weak dukes. 4 dukes like the purple-robed marquis and the Duke of Beijiang to become more and more powerful. It was not a good thing. This was a situation that could threaten the rule of the imperial family, and it was also the point that the Dongfang imperial family hated the most. It seemed that she suddenly felt that this sharp-tongued fellow, this lecher who spoke without restraint, was not so abominable. Therefore, when she was interrupted by the Marquis of Shanshui, Dongfang Moyu was immediately enraged. Her eyebrows rose as she shouted coldly, Marquis of Shanshui, do you still want to be beaten? Isn't a slap enough? Mr. Jiang is an imperial physician and a member of the imperial family. Why can't he speak? Sit down. Ah, he's an imperial physician? This subject didn't know before. I know my mistake, Grand Princess. Please calm down. The Marquis of Shanshui jumped in fright and hurriedly knelt down. He wants to be beaten. I'll enforce the law on behalf of the Grand Princess. Lin Yang jumped out and slapped the Marquis of Shanshui's face, causing him to roll a few meters away like a gourd. You. The Marquis of Shanshui climbed up in a daze, and was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. It's one thing for the Grand Princess to hit me, but you, a little calf, a junior, dare to hit me. It's a great humiliation. How can this be tolerated? However, when Lin Yang hit him, he used the princess's name, and he could not refute it. The Marquis of Shanshui retreated dejectedly. Jiang Tian smiled coldly again. And you, the Fragrant Medicine House, right? To put it nicely, you are a high and mighty sect. To put it bluntly, you are just businessmen. Do you have any achievements? Have you made any contributions to the empire? Have you protected the Dongfang imperial family and the people? Where did you get the courage to use that pretentious tone to teach a lesson to a duke who once fought for the country and shed blood on the battlefield? Who gave you the courage? You're so arrogant. Terminate the cooperation? Bah. I'm telling you clearly now, your Fragrant Medicine House will definitely not last long if you act like this. At most, you can live for half a year. There are many sects and businesses in the world that want to cooperate with my Lin family. Who do you think you are? Mr.'s knowledge is really extraordinary. At this moment, Dongfeng Moyu looked at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes again. Her good impression of Jiang Tian rose rapidly again, and she liked him to the extreme. Sects were high and mighty and otherworldly. Sect cultivators considered themselves to be immortal cultivators, and were extremely arrogant. They ignored the common people and did not care about the affairs of the world. But they forgot that they were originally born in the secular world. But if a heavenly treasure appeared in the secular world, they would definitely snatch it, and even fight with the royal family. But if there were any natural disasters, demon beast tides, demonic chi, and so on in the secular world, even if millions of mortals were killed or injured, they would not take a second look. They would even support agents in the secular world for the sake of benefits and participate in the fight for imperial power and territory. Haha, interesting. You dare to scold me. Owner Wang of the Fragrant Medicine House's face was ashen, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 1885. The Fragrant Medicine House was high and mighty. Even the eldest princess and Crown Prince Dongfang Ding had to be courteous to them. Now they were being reprimanded by a guest of the Lin family. He had already announced Jiang Tian's death sentence in his heart. After all, killing people in a sect completely disregarded the laws of the secular empire. However, the eldest princess was present and Jiang Tian had the title of imperial physician. He could not directly attack or threaten him. He could only laugh coldly. Kid, don't be so arrogant. You're just an itinerant cultivator from a humble background. How dare you talk about the development of the Fragrant Medicine House? What a joke. I'll tell you frankly, without the Fragrant Medicine House to buy the spiritual herbs from the spiritual herb garden, you can only rear pigs. Is the Fragrant Medicine House so rich? Is your strength so terrifying? The spiritual herb garden in Tiger Head Ridge occupies a half-spiritual vein. You want to use it to rear pigs? How extravagant and wasteful. It's truly admirable. Right at this moment, a sarcastic voice sounded out. A middle-aged cultivator with a cold, arrogant, and overbearing expression walked in lazily with his hands behind his back. He was clearly trying to tear down the Fragrant Medicine House. The purple Marquis stood up and slammed the table angrily. He shouted sternly, "Where are the guards? What's the use of keeping you? How dare you let an outsider in? Throw him out." "Marquis, please calm down." The guard commander following behind the middle-aged man hurriedly rushed forward and whispered something into Purple Marquis's ear. When Purple Marquis heard this, his expression changed, and he hurriedly went up to greet him. His face was full of joy as he said apologetically, "I didn't expect the third hall master of the Ancient Medicine Hall's Icebound City branch to come in person. Please forgive this old man's poor eyesight, Old man's poor eyesight. What? It's the third hall master of the ancient medicine hall's ice-sealed city hall. The third hall master has been replaced. The ice-sealed city hall is the second main hall of the ancient medicine hall. The third hall master is a big shot. Why is he here? Go greet him. It's good to get familiar with him. Many of the marquises stepped forward and bowed. Even the eldest princess went to greet him, her face filled with joy. The ancient medicine hall was the top sacred ground on the continent. There were many semi-god realm cultivators and saints there. They could flatten a large country with a single order. That was terrifying enough. More importantly, they were proficient in alchemy. There were oceans of divine pills and clouds of divine pills in the palace. These were essential items for the various feudal lords to raise their cultivation and nurture their disciples. Not only in the Eastern Empire, but even in the entire Saint Origin world. There was a saying that if you offend the Hall of Ancient Medicine, you'll suffer a fate worse than death. If you climb up the Hall of Ancient Medicine, you'll reach the heavens in a single bound. Third Palace Master, you're here. Why didn't you tell me? On the other hand, the Fragrant Medicine House's house master's face was filled with terror as he spoke in a submissive tone. In the eyes of the secular world, the Fragrant Medicine House could be considered a large and famous sect. However, compared to a colossus like the Ancient Medicine Hall, it paled in comparison. A branch hall of Icebound City was enough to crush them. Third Hall Master Xing had an arrogant look on his face. He couldn't be bothered with Third Hall Master Xing. He chuckled and looked at Lin Hanqing. Marquis Lin, it's a waste to use a half-spirit vein to rear pigs. The Ancient Medicine Hall is willing to pay 200 million top-grade crystals a year to sign a contract with the Lin family. 5 years, no 10 years. No, you can fill in the number of years you want. What? Everyone, including Purple Marquis, thought they had heard wrong. The third hall master of the Ancient Medicine Hall's branch in Icebound City was willing to pay 10 million to sign a contract with the Lin family? If it were any other occasion, it wouldn't be a big deal to sign a contract and do business. However, the Ancient Medicine Hall's actions were a slap in the face to Purple Marquis and the Fragrant Medicine House. They were openly supporting the Lin family. This was strange. The Ancient Medicine Hall was the top sacred ground. Who didn't know how terrifying it was? Who didn't know how shrewd and wise the hall masters and elders of the Ancient Medicine Hall were? Under such circumstances, the Ancient Medicine Hall was making a loss by signing a contract with such generous conditions. If the Ancient Medicine Hall couldn't benefit from other aspects, why would they support the Lin family? When did the Lin family of the Jinyuan Marquis get on the good side of the Ancient Medicine Hall? No one thought that the Jinyuan Marquis was so influential or capable that the Ancient Medicine Hall would publicly support them just because of a half-spirit vein herb garden. The Fragrant Medicine House's house master's face turned ugly as he said coldly, Third Hall Master, what you're doing is inappropriate. However, you should know that the herb garden isn't worth 200 million top-grade crystals. You're willing to suffer a huge loss just to slap me in the face. Do you think Elder Gu and the head hall master will agree? You don't have to worry about that. So what if we lose money? Third Hall Master Xing snorted coldly in his heart. What do you know? The heaven-mending pill alone brings tens of billions of top-grade crystals to the Hall of Ancient Medicine. Losing this little bit of money is nothing compared to pleasing Mr. Jiang. He said calmly, that's right. Hall Master Wang, slap me in the face? Why do you say that? I clearly heard you say that you're ending your business with the Lin family. If not, why would the Ancient Medicine Hall interfere? We know the rules of doing business. There's nothing wrong with us picking up a business that you don't want to do, right? The Fragrant Medicine House master was tongue-tied and speechless. Purple Marquis also looked embarrassed. The Ancient Medicine Hall had spent 200 million top-grade crystals to rent the herb garden, but he only wanted to spend 10 million. His table manners were a little too unsightly. However, he was very confused. He couldn't understand why the Ancient Medicine Hall would risk losing money to support the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family. This was too strange. However, Lin Hanqing knew that it was all because of Jiang Tian. Looking at Purple Marquis and Landlord Wang's expression as if they had just swallowed a fly, Lin Hanqing's heart felt extremely carefree. He laughed heartily, beaming with joy, and said proudly, "Thank you, Landlord Wang, for terminating the contract with my Lin family. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the opportunity to sit and collect 200 million in rent. I've doubled it in an instant. I still have important matters to attend to. I'll take my leave first." Hall Master Wang was so embarrassed that he couldn't back down. He didn't have the face to stay and left angrily. The Purple Marquis was very angry that the ancient medicine hall had ruined his plan to rob the Marquis. However, he didn't dare to offend the third hall master, so he pretended to be polite and said, "The third hall master's arrival today brings light to our humble Marquis mansion. Please take a seat and enjoy some wine." "Haha, thank you for your hospitality. However, I'm only here to discuss a business with Jinyuan Marquis. Since we've already discussed it, there's no need for me to stay. Please contact me after the banquet and sign a rental contract. Everyone, please don't send me off." Third Hall Master Xing had his hands behind his back. His expression was arrogant and overbearing. He didn't care about people like Purple Marquis at all. He laughed and left the Marquis residence without giving him any face. They're willing to double the rent to rent the herb garden at Tigerhead Ridge. The ancient medicine hall is clearly supporting Jinyuan Marquis. With the support of the ancient medicine hall, won't Jinyuan Marquis be able to make a comeback? From a chicken to a phoenix. Of course, with the ancient medicine hall, he'll have an endless supply of pills. With pills, the strength of the Jinyuan Marquis residence will soar. The situation has changed. It seems that the Lin family is going to rise among the southern feudal lords and surpass Purple Marquis. We have to curry favor with Marquis Lin and hug his thigh. Through him, we might be able to get some precious pills from the ancient medicine hall. That's right. Jinyuan Marquis is much better than Purple Marquis. It's not a loss to be friends with him. Purple Marquis is greedy by nature and easily takes things by force. Today he took Jinyuan Marquis. Who knows if he'll steal from us tomorrow? Many feudal lords who were close to Jinyuan Marquis whispered and beamed with joy. They seemed to think highly of Jinyuan Marquis. Some feudal lords who were originally neutral seemed to be moved. They raised their cups and toasted Lin Hanqing from afar to express their congratulations and flattery. Being keenly aware of these subtle changes, Purple Marquis's face suddenly turned ugly. Chapter 1886. Originally, the Purple Marquis had invited all the dukes and banquets to spread the news of his son's breakthrough, intimidate the other dukes, and gather the people's hearts to prepare for the day when he would rebel. It was also to put pressure on Lin Hanqing to openly snatch this medicine field and accumulate resources. But now, this had become a show for the Jinyuan Ho residents. They had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. "Marquis, we can't sit by and watch the Jinyuan Ho grow. Why don't we carry out the second plan?" "Yes, uncle, if the Jinyuan Ho obtains the support of the other dukes, the situation is already set. One day, won't the Xinji forest and even the entire Red Rock Basin be snatched away?" At this moment, the Marquis of Shanshui's expression was grave as he communicated with the Purple Marquis. Li Ludao and Zi Yunxiao rubbed their palms together, eager to give it a try. "Good, victory or defeat depends on this." The Purple Marquis pondered for a moment, then suddenly gritted his teeth. He had always been a resolute and decisive person, with the air of an ambitious and ruthless person, doing what he said. At this time, the Jinyuan Ho was already showing signs of rising. If they did not take advantage of his weakness to strangle him in the cradle as soon as possible, would they have to keep him and let him develop? The banquet continued for a while, gradually reaching the most important matter of the hidden dragon trials. Everyone surrounded Dongfang Moyu and asked him all sorts of questions, deeply worried. Suddenly, the Purple Marquis took over the topic, stood up, and toasted Dongfang Moyu. "My colleagues, speaking of the hidden dragon trials, I would like to express the highest respect to our empire's war goddess. The Eastern Empire was founded on martial arts, and cultivation prospered. From the nobles to the peddlers, they all yearned for cultivation and worked hard to improve themselves. Among them, the eldest princess is the most outstanding. Whether it is talent, perseverance, realm, or battle strength, she is not inferior to men. She is our role model, and I admire her to the extreme. He still knew how to say a few words, but it carried a sense of flattery and vulgarity. Everyone chimed in agreement. I'll drink first as a sign of respect. Eldest princess, please drink this cup. The purple marquis drank it in one gulp. Haha, the purple marquis is too polite. Dongfang Moyu was quite forthright, and also drank the wine. Marquis Purple Robe's expression was solemn. He swept his gaze over the children of the feudal lords and said coldly, the empire was founded on martial prowess and evaluated the nobles, dukes, and ministers based on military achievements. The purpose was to encourage us to work hard and cultivate diligently. But there were some disciples of the dukes that laid on the books of merit of their ancestors, and they didn't think about improving themselves. They had nothing to do all day long, and they were extremely lazy. They only knew how to drink and make merry, and they were absent-minded towards cultivation. This marquis deeply abhorred this. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Yang. Lin Yang felt uncomfortable, so he angrily said, why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face? Originally, the rules of the Hidden Dragon trials were that the descendants of the vassals who lost would have their fiefs reduced, their nobility lowered, or even be stripped of their titles. However, some of the descendants of the vassals still did not have the heart to strive forward. They actually shamelessly claimed that without their titles and fiefs, they would be able to be an idle official and receive a salary from the royal family. How shameless! Following the purple marquis's furious roar, the entire banquet was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone looked at Lin Yang with ridicule and speechlessness. Lin Hanqing's face turned red, and he covered his face with his hands. My son, it's fine that your cultivation was low before, but why did you say such strange things? You'll become the laughingstock of the world. Lin Yang was also very speechless. He lowered his head and drank tea, hiding his embarrassment. Damn it, I was just casually comforting myself after drinking. How did it reach your ears? You even publicly announced it in this kind of situation, making me unable to step down. It seems that the punishment system is still not enough. Therefore, I did not hesitate to bear the infamy and wrote a petition, requesting that the Hidden Dragon trials be changed to actual combat. The purple marquis's face was filled with pain and hatred, and he coldly said, many people scolded me for being cruel and merciless, and for taking too many risks. This may cause the descendants of the vassals to be injured or even killed. But is this the case? This is only to encourage those salted fish who do not want to improve themselves. A treasured sword's edge must be sharpened. Only by sweating and bleeding during normal times can you preserve your life in battle. My son also wants to participate in the actual combat of the Hidden Dragon trials. He may also be injured and die. Today, I will say it here. If he is beaten to death in the Hidden Dragon trials, then it is because his skills are not as good as others. He deserves it. At the end of his speech, the purple marquis was impassioned. Spittle flew everywhere, the rims of his eyes were slightly red, and he patted his chest loudly. His acting skills were not bad. There is always pain in reform. The Marquis of Shanshui also tearfully sighed, shamelessly flattering. The Marquis is a man of great talent and bold vision, selfless and completely impartial. However, he was resented and reviled by the vassals of the world, saying that his actions were for the sake of partisanship and for the sake of annexing other vassals. This is simply a bunch of nonsense, slandering others. The Marquis is completely for the prosperity of the empire. His loyalty and devotion can be witnessed by the heavens. The good thing is that His Majesty knows this subject's painstaking efforts, and the eldest princess understands this subject's loyalty. This subject's petition for the Hidden Dragon trials to be implemented in actual combat has finally been approved. This subject here, on behalf of the common people, I thank the eldest princess. The purple marquis bowed deeply, tears flowing down his old face. His acting skills were at their peak. The purple marquis is wholeheartedly for the sake of the empire's development. The imperial family understands this. Dongfang Moyu could only be so polite. However, she did not forget to glance at the many juniors, revealing a kind smile and reminded, in the future, although the Hidden Dragon trials will be implemented in actual combat, it is still important to stop at a certain point. Do not pursue your opponent relentlessly for the sake of false reputation, for the sake of a title. After all, you are all the future pillars of the empire. If any one of you is injured or killed, it will be a great loss to the empire. This princess will also be very sad. We will remember. Zi Yunxiao and Li Ludao nodded repeatedly. However, they coldly snorted in their hearts. The battlefield was constantly changing. How could it be so easy to judge whether to stop at a certain point or to pursue relentlessly? Lin Yang, as long as we can go against you, only death awaits you. Your Highness the eldest princess, do not worry. The children understand these principles. The vassals of the world are one family. Friendship first, competition second. At this time, the purple marquis smiled. However, there is only a month until the Hidden Dragon trials. Today, there are many distinguished guests present, and the eldest princess has even personally come. In order to improve the combat skills of these juniors, in order to stimulate their fighting spirit, and in order to liven things up for the eldest princess, this marquis would like to propose that the descendants of the vassals present today have a warm-up competition, a simulation of the trials. I wonder what your Highness the eldest princess thinks. He had done a lot of foreshadowing, and finally the dagger was revealed. For a moment, many of the descendants of the vassals had different expressions. The scene was noisy, and there was a lot of discussion. The marquis' suggestion is very good. What is learned on paper is shallow, and what is learned must be done personally. Only in actual combat can you improve yourself. Yes, yes, yes. Cultivation is not treating people to a meal, not writing an essay, not painting or embroidery. It cannot be so elegant, so calm, so gentle, and so modest. Cultivation is a life and death struggle to suppress the opponent. It is a battle between the strong, a competition of strength and willpower. To be able to win a smile from the eldest princess, it is not a waste of what I have learned in my life. For example, Li Ludao, Zi Yunxiao, and the others who had higher cultivation levels were all filled with fighting spirit, eager to give it a try. Some of the descendants of the aristocratic families who had previous grievances glared at each other, their expressions unfriendly, their killing intent surging. As for the descendants with lower cultivation levels, they immediately shrunk like quails. They either lowered their heads, took the opportunity to escape, or shivered. Their faces were filled with uneasiness, and they looked at their elders for help. As for the vassals who had a good relationship with Lin Hanqing, their hearts tightened. This time, the purple marquis had been talking for half a day, and was waiting here. He wanted to fiercely trample on Jin Yuan Marquis, and that teacher Jiang. Chapter 1887. Is the purple marquis so impatient? How is Lin Yang's preparation? Can Mr. Jiang teach him carefully? Hearing this, Dongfeng Moyu's face slightly froze, and he glanced at Jiang Tian and Lin Yang. Jiang Tian's face was calm, and Lin Yang did not run away. Dongfeng Moyu could not determine Lin Yang's current situation. Thinking of this, Dongfeng Moyu smiled and said, "The children's cultivation is uneven. In order to avoid a battle with too great a disparity in strength, unnecessary casualties, I suggest that the simulated battle must be agreed to by the person being challenged. If the challenger refuses the challenge, then we cannot force it. After all, this is still not the real Hidden Dragon trials. Of course, Princess Royal is kind and cares about her subordinates. I don't want to see anyone hurt." The purple marquis gloated at Jiang Tian and Lin Yang. Refuse the challenge? Sure, the Jinyuan Marquis Lin family's face will be lost, and their prestige will be lost. The southern marquis will still treat me as the core. Dongfeng Moyu nodded, and glanced at the children of the marquis. She smiled and said, "Since everyone agrees to this rule, there shouldn't be any accidents. Today, all the descendants of the marquis are gathered here. As the person in charge of the Hidden Dragon trials, I will take this opportunity to observe your progress in cultivating the Eastern Purple Qi, and give you a few pointers. You don't have to hold back. Show your talent, comprehension, talent, and ability." Her voice was cold, like jade striking each other. "Then, let the challenge begin. I wonder which handsome young man will stand up and start the challenge first, and give me a surprise." I am willing to eat this mouthful of soup. Princess Royal, please give me pointers on my cultivation. I will be eternally grateful. Li Ludao stood up and walked out of the crowd, flying to the martial arts field next to the banquet hall. He looked around proudly. This martial arts field occupied half of the manor of the Purple Marquis, and was very wide. Good Li Ludao. I know you, the son of the Marquis of Shanshui. I heard that you have returned to the peak, Golden Core stage. Then find an opponent of similar level to fight a peak battle, and let me broaden my horizons. I think Zi Yinxiao is not bad. Dongfeng Moyu smiled. She still doesn't want Lin Yang to accept the challenge now. Although she felt that Jiang Tian was an amazing person, Lin Yang's foundation was too poor. In just a few months, if he was promoted from the first level of Jindan stage to the peak, it would be like a fantasy. Eldest princess must be joking. Brother Z is the #1 genius among the descendants of the southern vassals of the empire. How could this subject be his match? Li Ludao politely refused, then looked at Lin Yang and pretended to hold his fist. I would like to challenge the son of Zhenyuan Ho Lin Yang. Just now, Lin Yang said that I was asking for a beating and wanted to teach me a lesson. Lin Yang has made rapid progress in this period of time. He already has the qualification to compete with me. Brother Lin Yang, please advise me. As cultivators, we forget our enmity with a smile when we meet. All friendships are based on learning from each other. Am I right, everyone? Lin Yang looked embarrassed, but he didn't get up immediately. Although he was already a peak stage Golden Core cultivator, Li Ludao had been a Golden Core cultivator for many years, and had more combat experience. The other marquises also got the hint from Marquis Zishan's eyes. Yes, let's have a good fight. We old guys will be outdated in the end. Sooner or later, we will give way to the younger generation. It's rare to have such a good opportunity tonight. Between the descendants of the vassals, we can learn from each other and increase our friendship. This will strengthen the martial spirit of the Eastern Empire. Good. Lin Yang, you should accept. Young people are the future of the country. If they are strong, the empire will be strong. Seeing that Lin Yang didn't accept the challenge, Zi Yinxiao smiled and said, Lin Yang, you won't refuse, right? Li Ludao has been fascinated by you for a long time. I heard that your esteemed guest, Mr. Jiang, has recently begun to guide your cultivation. Mr. Jiang is an eccentric cultivator from outside the river. I think he must have some outstanding points. Ah, Mr. Jiang is guiding his cultivation? Marquis Shanshui slapped his thigh and said, Then Lin Yang, I'm afraid you will ascend to the heavens. Cultivators from outside the river are so amazing. His words were full of ridicule. Oh, no wonder Lin Yang is so arrogant. So you invited a famous teacher from outside the river. A famous teacher produces a brilliant disciple. Lin Yang has someone to rely on. Hearing this, everyone burst into laughter and looked at Jiang Tian and the Lin father and son with ridicule. How could the Lin family be so eccentric? They actually invited a trashy cultivator from outside the river to guide Lin Yang's cultivation. This was simply destroying their own future. If he was ridiculed like this in the past, Lin Yang would pinch his nose and endure it. After all, he had been a good-for-nothing for many years. It wasn't the first time he had been ridiculed, and his skin had gradually become very thick. However, seeing the flames of ridicule gradually burning on Jiang Tian, he couldn't hold it in anymore. Let's fight. Who's afraid of you? Lin Yang slammed the table and stood up, his battle intent surging. He and Jiang Tian had a special relationship. Jiang Tian had solved the Lin family's crisis several times and brought him to the ancient medicine hall to show off, enlightening his cultivation and stimulating his potential. In his heart, Jiang Tian was as close as a brother, but also as respected as a famous teacher. It could be said that he was both a teacher and a friend. At this moment, seeing that Jiang Tian was also being ridiculed, if he still acted like a coward, would he still be a human? Haha, Lin Yang, you're good. You were originally the weakling who formed the core the longest in history. During this period of time, you were misled by a rogue cultivator from outside the river. I'm afraid your strength is not as good as it used to be. You actually accepted my challenge. I'm a little impressed. Li Ludao laughed strangely. His tongue was incomparably poisonous. He humiliated Jiang Tian and Lin Yang together. What nonsense are you talking about? Just do it. Lin Yang flew into the martial arts arena and shouted angrily. Sir, are you really going to let Lin Yang compete with him? Lin Hanqing looked at Jiang Tian pitifully with a nervous expression. He only had one precious son. If he died, how could he explain to his wife and ancestors? Don't worry, Lord Ho. Li Ludao is just a weakling. Lin Yang can defeat him in 3 moves. Jiang Tian smiled leisurely and sipped his wine. He was calm and composed. Ha ha ha, Mr. Jiang is really arrogant. Marquis Shanshui was exasperated. He gritted his teeth and grinned. Son, teach Lin Yang a lesson. Destroy his Dantian and show this rogue cultivator what the supreme art of the Eastern Empire is. Jiang, you're just an arrogant person from a remote village. How dare you talk about the art of the royal family? You pretended to teach others and misled them. If Lin Yang loses, you'll bow and apologize to me? Do you dare to accept? He pointed his gun at Jiang Tian to humiliate Jiang Tian. After all, he had been humiliated too much in front of Jiang Tian. How could he not want revenge? Why wouldn't I? Your useless son will lose. Jiang Tian was full of confidence in Lin Yang. Since when did a rogue cultivator from outside the river become so confident? He's just a rogue cultivator from outside the river. What can he teach? Arrogant. How arrogant. Fight. Hurry up. Let's see how powerful Lin Yang is now. Let's see how effective this rogue cultivator's teaching is. Everyone was also in an uproar. They couldn't believe it. Many of Marquis Shanshui's subordinates started to shout. On the other hand, Lin Hanqing was on the verge of screaming. Cold sweat poured down his back as he muttered. It's over, it's over. Li Ludao wanted to kill him. If my son is hit by this palm, his Dantian will definitely be shattered. At this moment, Lin Yang moved. To put it simply, Lin Yang just moved a step. Just this one step made the eldest princess, who had been watching the battle, suddenly have a strange look flash through her originally serious eyes. Because Lin Yang's step was very accurate. He just stepped on Li Luodao's weakest area, which was the most difficult area to cover. It was just such a small flaw. But Lin Yang seemed to have expected it. Almost at the same time when Ludao rushed over, he took a step forward. At the same time, Lin Yang slightly raised his arm, as if he was a flying immortal, and casually poked his finger. Grand Orient finger. Whoosh. The sharp sound of the finger piercing through the air was like a meteor across the sky. No one knew where it came from, and no one knew where it was going. In the next moment, a blood-curdling scream was heard. The palm shadows that filled the sky suddenly dissipated like broken branches and withered leaves. Li Luodao's elegant and light body was like a weight as he was smashed to the ground from mid-air. Bang! It was a solid hit. The ground trembled slightly from the impact. With this fall, even the onlookers felt their bones itch and their scalps go numb. The person involved probably fell even harder. Oh my god, this move that Brother Jiang taught me is too amazing. Li Ludao was defeated by a single finger. The other person involved, Lin Yang, was also stunned on the spot. He couldn't believe it. Li Luodao's flaw was taught to Lin Yang by Jiang Tian. It should be said that this was the flaw and loophole of the East Rising Purple Qi and the Purple Cloud Palm. Anyone who followed this set of techniques and palm techniques would be exposed. It was absolutely unavoidable. Previously, Jiang Tian had told him, when the Purple Cloud Palm was used, one only needed to use this footwork and step at this angle to avoid all attacks. Then, if one used the Grand Orient fingers Immortal guides the way to counterattack, one would be able to take the initiative. Like an antelope hanging its horn, it would be untraceable, and the enemy would have no chance to defend. It would be as if they were standing there waiting to be beaten. Lin Yang just imitated it. However, he didn't have the confidence to win. He didn't expect the effect to be so obvious and so heaven-defying. Anyone who used it would know. Silence. The scene was silent. Everyone's posture and expression were different, but they couldn't make a single sound. It was like a still picture. There were many powerful cultivators present. Which one of them wasn't a nascent soul cultivator? For example, the purple marquee was a soul formation cultivator. However, that move just now was so fast that they didn't think they saw it clearly. It was obvious that Li Ludao had the upper hand. He was only one step away from defeating Lin Yang. However, Lin Yang only moved twice from beginning to end. The first time he took a step forward, and the second time he raised his arm and poked with a finger. With just 2 simple pokes, Li Ludao's whole body fell vertically to the ground as if he was suddenly struck by lightning. This situation was as funny as it could be. It was as shocking as it could be. If it wasn't for the tense atmosphere before, if it wasn't for the tense relationship between the Marquis of Shanshui and Jinyuan Marquis, they would almost suspect that Li Ludao deliberately went easy on Lin Yang and acted with him. Did he play a big trick to highlight Lin Yang's awesomeness? However, it didn't seem like it. In the silence, Jiang Tian gently put down his wine cup and sighed with regret. Haha, I originally thought that Li Ludao was also a talent, and that Lin Yang would need 3 moves to defeat him. I didn't expect that with just a gentle poke, he wouldn't be able to do it. Bad. Disappointing. Whoosh. Countless gazes at the scene descended onto Jiang Tian in unison, and they were indescribably shocked. For a moment, there were countless guests with different thoughts. This move of Lin Yang is so clever. Could it be that Mr. Jiang taught him? Only a famous teacher can produce a good disciple. This Mr. Jiang is too heaven-defying. Yes, it seems that we can't underestimate the cultivators from beyond the river. As the saying goes, heroes don't ask where they come from. God has opened his eyes. The Lin family has picked up a treasure with this help. The dukes who were on good terms with Jinyuan Marquis were naturally secretly happy for the Lin family, and they admired and thought highly of Jiang Tian. In the battle just now, they didn't believe in Jiang Tian's guidance, and they were really worried for their old friend's son. However, this result was something they never dreamed of before. Impossible. Lin Yang was still in the core formation realm a few months ago. How could he improve so quickly? Even if Mr. Jiang was an immortal from the 9 heavens, he couldn't do it. Yes, rotten wood can't be carved. How can a loach grow into a dragon? Impossible. The dukes who were on bad terms with Jinyuan Marquis, or were on good terms with Purple Marquis, were puzzled. Some people began to suspect that it was not Jiang Tian's teaching, but Lin Yang, this guy, had been pretending to be a rich man? Pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Was he waiting for today's outbreak? The neutral ones were the majority. At this moment, their mood was more like watching the show. Of course, they were also puzzled by the strange scene in front of them. These neutral parties were the least pressured. Watching the show, they naturally wouldn't worry about things getting out of hand and not being able to clean up the situation. Among them, the most surprised and shocked was the eldest princess, Dongfang Moyu. She stared at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes, unable to believe it, and her heart was beating wildly. Chapter 1889. Seeing Li Ludao's terrifying attack just now, Dongfang Moyu almost wanted to announce the end of the battle. But before she could even shout out, the situation suddenly took a 180-degree turn. At this moment, Dongfang Moyu didn't care whether Li Ludao was killed or not, and completely forgot that Li Ludao had cultivated the purple cloud palm to the peak of greater mastery. There was only one picture in her mind, and that was Lin Yang's antelope hanging horn attack, which can't be traced. The Grand Princess was no stranger to the origin of the Eastern Emperor finger. She was very familiar with it. Like the purple cloud palm, it was also a supporting martial technique of the Eastern purple chi art. However, under Jiang Tian's guidance, there was a slight change in Lin Yang's finger. However, this change made her unable to completely understand the profoundness within it. It was as if this finger contained boundless profoundness. It was as if the various laws and the essence of the great Tao were reduced from complexity to simplicity, all of them condensed into this finger. What level of golden core? What level? At this moment, none of that was important. This finger was almost invincible. In Dongfang Moyu's opinion, it was actually the true meaning of the finger technique. It made her feel like she couldn't completely understand it. What kind of magical finger was this? This was the true guidance of an immortal. Lin Yang's talent is extremely poor. Naturally, he can't comprehend such a move. All of this was taught by Mr. Jiang. However, no matter how strong he is, he can't see the flaw in the purple cloud palm in such a short time, right? Dongfeng Moyu was really shocked this time. She found that she couldn't understand this mysterious Mr. Jiang anymore. Finally, someone came to break the deathly silent atmosphere at the scene. Li Ludao was helped down by the guards. However, Marquis Shanshui found that his son's dantian was broken again. He couldn't help but turn pale with fright. His heart felt like it was being twisted by a knife. He knelt on the ground and roared with grievance. "Your Highness Grand Princess, you have to uphold justice. Lin Yang is too ruthless. My son's dantian was broken by him. It's only a month until the Hidden Dragon trials. How can it be repaired? My Marquis Shanshui's residence will definitely lose the Hidden Dragon trials. I want Lin Yang to pay with his life, pay with his life, pay with his life." Lin Hanqing was so angry that his face turned ashen. He stepped out of the crowd and shouted angrily, "Marquis Shanshui, how dare you? Didn't you say that there would always be pain in the reform? Didn't you support the reformation of the college entrance examination into actual combat? Didn't you want your son to break Lin Yang's dantian? What? Now that it's your son's turn, your heart aches? You will have to pay with your life." The Marquis of Shanshui saw that the eldest princess had no intention of upholding justice. So he looked at the Marquis of Purple Robe and said, "Marquis of Purple Robe, please say something fair. This battle is indeed worthy of discussion." Purple Marquis did not expect such a situation to occur, and his heart was filled with confusion and shock. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, Lin Hanqing retorted angrily, "Purple Marquis, what is there to discuss? You're not going to take sides, are you? Have you forgotten what you just said? What was there to say about some descendants of dukes lying on the books of merit of their ancestors, not thinking about making progress, doing nothing all day long, being extremely lazy, only knowing how to drink and have fun, and being absent-minded towards cultivation? Regarding this, you deeply detest it. Now that he had the support of a great deity like Jiang Tian, he was not afraid of anyone. After all, even the eldest princess was afraid of Jiang Tian, who wanted her to massage his legs and shoulders. This seemed to be Purple Marquis' home ground, but as long as Jiang Tian was here, this was Jiang Tian's home ground, which was also his home ground. For a moment, Lin Hanqing's mouth was like a cannon, crazily shooting his mouth off. What college entrance examination using actual combat? It's to motivate those salted fish who don't think about making progress. What a treasured sword's edge must be sharpened, and only by sweating and bleeding can one preserve one's life in battle. Even if your son is beaten to death in the Hidden Dragon trials, that's because his skills are inferior, and he deserves it. What? Now that the results of the actual combat are not favorable to you, you want to discuss it, you want to hold my son accountable. Could it be that in your eyes, the Marquis of Shanshui's son is a precious treasure, and my son is mud to knead, my son is picked up? No. This Marquis said it's worth discussing, because the technique Lin Yang used is not the pure Eastern Emperor finger, and the rules of the Hidden Dragon trials state that the children of the Marquis must use the Eastern Emperor finger and the purple cloud palm. Is your son suspected of cheating? Of course he has to take responsibility. Purple Marquis's face was ashen, and he slapped the table, arguing unreasonably. Yes, I also feel that the Eastern Emperor finger doesn't have this technique. It seems to be the Immortal Guides the Way technique, but it seems to have changed. Could it be that Lin Yang really used a similar technique? After Purple Marquis's words, many of the Marquis's hearts were moved, and they whispered to each other, discussing animatedly. Yes, Lin Yang cheated, using an evil technique from beyond the river. In front of the eldest princess he dared to cheat, so brazenly. This is disrespecting the eldest princess, deceiving the ruler. And all of this was taught by that evil disciple Jiang Xiqing. Her crime is punishable by death, punishable by death. Marquis Shanshui gritted his teeth and roared repeatedly. This guy was best at using the tiger skin as a banner, and everything was related to the dignity of the royal family. Since the chief examiner, the eldest princess, is here, I'm afraid you have no right to say whether Lin Yang used the Eastern Emperor finger or not. Jiang Tian smiled calmly. Everyone's gazes uniformly landed on the eldest princess, Dongfang Moyu. Purple Marquis, shut up, everything is up to the eldest princess to decide. Jiang Tian's face was full of ridicule. Do you dare to deny it? If you dare to deny it, I'll let you massage my legs and shoulders. Although this move Immortal Guides the Way has been slightly modified, it is still the Eastern Emperor finger without a doubt. The eldest princess's face was serious, and she said neither too fast nor too slow. Everyone, let's not tangle in this competition anymore. Marquis Shanshui, your son is injured. This princess is also very sad. I will give him pills to heal his injuries later. Although she had a fiery temper, she was also good at dealing with people. Although he wanted to suppress Purple Marquis Shanshui, he also understood the principle of appeasing people. Your Highness, the eldest princess's treatment. This subject refuses to accept it, absolutely refuses to accept it. May I ask the eldest princess, today the Eastern Emperor finger is allowed to be slightly changed. Tomorrow it can be completely changed, and the day after tomorrow, will the Western Emperor finger be used, and the Southern Emperor finger be used as the Eastern Emperor finger? Is there any fairness in this hidden dragon trials? The Marquis of Shanshui was flustered and exasperated. He stood up, waved his hands and feet, clenched his teeth and choked with tears. It wasn't that he didn't know what was good for him, but he really couldn't accept such an outcome. Originally, he had wanted to rely on his son to turn the tables and show off. However, he had never thought that his son would actually be beaten to the point that his dantian had been shattered. This was no longer a matter of face. In the following hidden dragon trials, he would definitely suffer a crushing defeat. His title and fief would be stripped away. This was cutting off a person's path to survival. It was a real loss, a catastrophe. Impudent. If a successor of a duke were to use other techniques in the exam, would I not be able to see it? Do you think I'm blind? Seeing this scene, the eldest princess's pretty face suddenly became covered in frost as she coldly shouted. Originally, when Li Ludao attacked, he didn't hold back in the slightest and wanted nothing more than to beat Lin Yang to death. Now that his skills are inferior, it's fine if he loses. But you use such clever words, twisting words and forcing logic, and dare to question me. The eldest princess unleashed her might, her aura overflowing and extremely frightening. Teacher Jiang produced a great disciple and greatly increased Lin Yang's strength. He changed the Eastern Emperor finger to the Immortal Guides the Way, which was wonderful and natural. It greatly improved the imperial family's techniques and greatly contributed to the imperial family and the empire. But you repeatedly insulted him as a villain, an arrogant person, and an evil cultivator. This is simply outrageous. Is it because the sword in my hand hasn't been stained with blood for too long? Do you think that this consort sword is blunt, rusty, and not sharp enough to cut off your dog head? You come and try it. As she spoke, the flying sword in the hands of the sword servant behind her was eager to give it a try, buzzing. Suddenly, a monstrous killing intent soared into the sky, enveloping an area of 100 miles. It was as if the surrounding temperature had suddenly dropped by a few dozen degrees, causing people to feel cold all over. It was as if they had taken a step into an ice cellar, shivering. Seeing this scene, Jiang Tian lightly smiled and secretly sighed. This little girl, although her temper is a bit fiery, sometimes she really is awesome. Chapter 1890. Although the Eastern Imperial family was weak, a centipede would not fall over even if it was dead. They still had power. At least, they had no problem dealing with an ordinary marquis. Besides, Dongfang Moyu was already at the soul formation stage, and was known as the Empire's war goddess. Even Purple Marquis was slightly inferior to her. Marquis Shanshui, since the eldest princess has made such a judgment, we should trust her judgment. The simulation test has just begun. Why are you in such a hurry? Purple Marquis hurriedly persuaded. Marquis Shanshui still wanted to argue, but when he heard the second half of the sentence, he gave up. Yes, Ziyunxiao hasn't made a move yet. If he deals with the Zhenyuan Marquis Lin family, he can still step on him and avenge his son. If Purple Marquis Shanshui grows up and protects himself in front of the emperor, I think he can still keep his title and fief. Thinking of this, Marquis Shanshui stared at Jiang Tian and said hatefully, "I'll let you be proud for a moment. My son is not a genius, but there are countless geniuses in the empire. Your disciple will be beaten to death sooner or later. Without the protection of the Jinyuan Marquis, you won't have a good ending." "Sigh, Marquis Shanshui, you're too stingy. We are all trusted subordinates of the Imperium, feudal lords of the border. Any progress made by any successor of a feudal lord is a good thing for the country and a cause for celebration." At this time, Purple Marquis laughed softly and said to Lin Hanqing solemnly, "Congratulations, Brother Lin. Lin Yang has finally improved and stepped into the nascent soul stage. It can be said that he reached the sky in one step, a carp leaping over the dragon gate. It's really worth celebrating." Yes, Lin Yang is so promising. He can definitely keep his title and fief in the hidden dragon trials. Brother Lin, you can celebrate in advance. His speed of advancement is incredible. I remember that just a year ago, this kid was still at the core formation stage. Isn't that so? He's been stuck at the core formation stage for a while, and can't take another step forward. This time, well, it's simply amazing the world with a single brilliant feat. Brother Lin, Lin Yang doesn't seem to be married yet. TSK Marquis Zhenhai, what are you thinking? Lin Yang and Fang Goyu were a pair, childhood sweethearts. Do you want your daughter to get involved as well? The Grand Princess made the final decision, affirming Lin Yang's achievements. The Marquis of Shanshui did not dare to deny it, and even the Marquis of Purple Robe respectfully congratulated him. For a moment, the attitude of the nobles present changed greatly. They looked at Lin Hanqing and his son with a higher degree of respect. The sound of congratulations resounded everywhere. Some even wanted to propose marriage to Lin Yang. Oh my God, I really won. Brother Zhang's guidance is simply like the guidance of an immortal, and it allowed me to ascend to the limit. Lin Yang couldn't believe it, as if he was in a dream. After a long time, he finally came back to his senses and flew to his seat. He excitedly raised his wine cup and said, "Mister, let me toast you." Then he drank the wine in one gulp. Jiang Tian had only dabbled a little. "Haha. Thank you for your support. This is all thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Jiang. As the saying goes, a great teacher produces a great disciple." Lin Hanqing enjoyed the admiring and envious gazes of the other dukes, as well as the waves of congratulatory words, and he felt extremely happy in his heart. He stood up with his head held high, and then he cupped his hands towards the surroundings. But when he saw the Marquis of Purple Robe looking at him with a smile that was not a smile, and Zi Yunxiao's eyes were also gloomy, Lin Hanqing suddenly realized that the Marquis of Purple Robe's words had a hidden meaning. One had to know that Lin Yang was only at the peak of the gold core stage, and half-step nascent soul stage was barely enough. But the Marquis of Purple Robe deliberately said that Lin Yang was in the nascent soul stage. This was to pave the way for the upcoming competition. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but shiver. He quickly smiled and cupped his hands. "Brother Purple Robe, you are wrong this time. Lin Yang is only at the peak of the gold core stage, not even half-step nascent soul stage. On this point, Grand Princess Mo, you can see it clearly." Indeed. The Grand Princess sipped her tea and nodded slightly. Lin Yang is indeed at the peak of the gold core stage, without the slightest sign of nascent soul stage, nor control the forbidden area, nor touch the laws. There's no doubt about that. She had experienced many battles between the dynasties and knew the conflicts between the nobles. She also knew that the Marquis of Purple Robe's ambition. She immediately judged that the Marquis wanted his son, Zi Yunxiao, to crush Lin Yang. But Zi Yunxiao had already stepped into the nascent soul stage. Nascent soul stage cultivators were called heavenly monarchs. Once they entered the nascent soul stage, they were in control of their own fate. Nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs could even control the laws of heaven and earth, form their own forbidden area, and have all kinds of incredible abilities. Although the Saint Origin continent belonged to the central galaxy, where the laws were strict and the laws were firm, nascent soul stage heavenly monarchs still had the power to move mountains and fill seas, and the power to crush cities with a roar. Nascent soul stage, even half-step nascent soul stage, was fundamentally different from gold core stage. Gold core stage cultivators only controlled primordial chi, and use true essence to form Dharma form. Compared to the forbidden area of nascent soul stage cultivators, it was on a completely different level. If one forcefully fought against it, it would be like an ant trying to shake a tree, or an egg hitting a stone. Because of the huge gap between gold core and nascent soul stage cultivators were exempted from the hidden dragon trials, and kept their titles and fiefs. This was to prevent the Jindan heirs from fighting against the nascent soul geniuses, resulting in casualties. Haha, Princess Royal, you are underestimating Lin Yang, this child. You are also underestimating Mr. Jiang, this famous teacher. Mr. Jiang is a miraculous man. He cured the princess's chronic illness and helped Lin Yang reach the ultimate level. His knowledge and ability are far beyond ours. Purple Marquis looked at Jiang Tian meaningfully and smiled. When I look at this Mr. Jiang, I feel like I'm in the depths of an abyss, unfathomable. I think he has a way to hide his nascent soul stage energy and suppress his power. We thought Lin Yang was only a core formation cultivator, but after fighting with Li Lu Dao, we found out that he was a peak stage golden core cultivator. Jiang Tian took a sip of his tea with a faint smile on his face, refusing to comment. Purple Marquis didn't mind Jiang Tian's arrogance and indifference. He continued with a smile. Then I can't help but ask, is this Lin Yang's limit? I don't think so. He might already be a nascent soul cultivator. Even if he's just a golden core cultivator, he's still a nascent soul cultivator. Purple Marquis, you're too imaginative. My son is useless. Lin Hanqing felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He felt uncomfortable and quickly smiled. Lin Hanqing, whether he's a nascent soul cultivator or not, we'll know after a fight. Purple Marquis was a bit impatient. Also, you should know that in the hidden dragon trials, it's a big crime for a duke's descendant to falsely report their power. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. He aggressively asked, "You're so secretive. Could it be that you're hiding your son's cultivation level, because you want him to suddenly explode in power during the hidden dragon trials, and kill the heirs of the dukes who have conflicts with you? You're using your position to avenge your personal grudge, and you're on the same side and attacking those who don't? Or even intensify the conflict between the dukes and the smaller dukes, causing unrest in the empire?" These words were murderous and heartrending. It was simply one high hat after another being placed on him. Not only did he want to raise Lin Yang's power, he also wanted to force him to fight with Zi Yunxiao. Moreover, if Lin Yang didn't agree to the fight, he would be cursed and Lin Hanqing would be called a schemer with evil intentions. In reality, it was Purple Marquis who wanted to reform the hidden dragon trials. He wanted to use actual combat to suppress the smaller dukes, and even intensify the conflict between the dukes and cause unrest in the empire. He wanted to pave the way for the late Emperor Dongfeng Jie to regain control of the country. But he put all these crimes on the head of Lin Hanqing, who stood aloof from worldly affairs. Chapter 1891. Lin Hanqing was not good with words. Hearing this, he could only slap the table and laugh. Purple Marquis, you are the biggest joke in the world. When did I ever think? Since you don't think so, then let's compete. Purple Marquis was still unmoved, and smiled sinisterly. Let Lin Yang reveal his background. If he is really a nascent soul, then he can avoid the test. If he is a Jindan, then he can avoid participating in the nascent soul competition, and causing unnecessary accidents. Why wouldn't we do it? He threw out a look, and a few of the nobles who supported him immediately jeered. Our Eastern Empire has a strong martial spirit and advocates cultivation. You and I have to work hard, cultivate diligently every day, go to the battlefield to kill the enemy, and fight for the country and the people. Why, when it is your son's turn to compete, you are so evasive? Excessive modesty is excessive pride. Brother Lin, you are so arrogant. Aren't you looking down on the other genius heirs? You think they are not worthy to compete with your son. This old man is the first to support Purple Marquis's proposal. Lin Yang wants to strike while the iron is hot and fight again. Let us old fellows see the elegance of the genius heirs. Today is full of distinguished guests, and the eldest princess has personally come. This is the time for Lin Yang to show off his skills and amaze the world. This marquis is very optimistic about him. These people were completely watching the fun and did not mind the trouble. They wanted to force Lin Yang to fight again and give Purple Marquis a chance to turn the tables. It was like a gamble. Lin Hanqing had already won one round and wanted to take the money and leave, but others had spent so much effort to set up the game. So how could they let you leave the table so easily? They had to continue the gamble and make you, Lin Hanqing, lose everything. Marquis Shanshui smiled with ulterior motives. That's right, it is just a friendly competition, just to liven things up for eldest princess Mou. Why are you still so evasive? Don't tell me you don't put eldest princess Mou in your eyes? Arrogant, disrespectful to the royal family. This traitor seemed loyal, and his words did not deviate from the dignity of the royal family, but in fact, he was full of his own calculations. How is this marquis disrespectful to the royal family? How is this arrogant? I'm just afraid that Lin Yang won't be able to defeat him, and will be seriously injured. Then, in the future, in the Hidden Dragon trials, Lin Hanqing's face flushed red. He simply wanted to flick his sleeves and leave. This was simply a feast at Hongmen. That's right, I appreciate your kind intentions, my two beloved ministers. However, for the sake of protecting the heirs of the vassals, I still believe that this competition is not suitable to be held. At this moment, Grand Princess Mou couldn't help but laugh bitterly. She extended her jade-like hand and gently waved it as she spoke to stop him. The eldest princess vetoed. Just when everyone thought that the battle was over, the Marquis of Purple Robe and the Marquis of Shanshui sighed gloomily and gritted their teeth. And Lin Hanqing also thought that he had escaped and was secretly rejoicing. An untimely voice abruptly rang out again. Of course, there's nothing wrong with protecting the heirs. Although the eldest princess is kind and considerate, you don't need to worry too much. I believe that Lin Yang will definitely be merciful and know when to stop. He won't kill Ziyunxiao. As soon as these words came out, everyone went crazy, and their gazes fell on Jiang Tian, who was in the corner. What does he mean by that? Lin Yang is going to be merciful? Doesn't this mean that he's certain that Lin Yang will definitely win against Ziyunxiao? Ziyunxiao is a nascent soul heavenly lord. Lin Yang is just a golden core cultivator. This is the difference between heaven and earth, the difference between an immortal and a mortal. Does he have any common sense? For a moment, many vassals looked at Jiang Tian in disbelief, as if they were looking at a madman. This guy is an idiot. Does he really think that he's a rogue cultivator from outside the galaxy? That's right. Even if he pushed Lin Yang to the golden core level quickly, he must have used elixirs and secret arts to forcefully achieve it. His combat power is actually reduced. It's already very lucky for him to be able to defeat Li Ludao. How can he be matched against Ziyunxiao, a nascent soul cultivator? It's not an exaggeration to say that compared to Li Ludao, Ziyunxiao is a genius. Besides, Li Ludao's dantian was shattered and he barely managed to return to the peak, but his cultivation is definitely unstable. He can't be compared to Ziyunxiao at all. This guy is really interesting. This is a godly assist from our teammate. Meanwhile, the vassals in Marquis Purple Robe's camp were gloating and secretly delighted. Could this guy be a spy that Dongfeng Jie placed in Lin Hanqing's mansion to help us? That's right. Isn't he giving Lin Yang's head to us? He's here to help us. As for Marquis Purple Robe and Marquis Shanshui, they couldn't wait to hug Jiang Tian warmly and thank him for giving them the head. It's good enough that he won one round. He should stop while he's ahead. Does he really think that he's a master from one of the holy lands and divine sects that can turn something rotten into something magical? Sigh, he's pushing the Lin family into a fire pit. If Lin Yang loses this time, he'll lose everything. That's right. If Lin Yang is injured, then he'll be at a loss in the Hidden Dragon trials. He'll lose his title and fief. After all, the previous battle with Li Ludao was only a simulation. Even if he won against Li Ludao, it would only be a matter of face. As for Lin Hanqing's friends, they all sighed and felt depressed. They felt that Jiang Tian was a pig teammate. This time Lin Hanqing was probably screwed over miserably. Even Lin Hanqing looked at Jiang Tian flabbergasted. His heart was in turmoil. Little Princess Dongfang also stared at Jiang Tian with her beautiful eyes. She couldn't believe it. As for Lin Yang, his face was pale with fright. He winked at Jiang Tian and laughed. Haha everyone, please don't make a fool of yourself. Our great guest Jiang has drunk too much. Drunken words, you can't take them seriously. Your Highness eldest princess uncles, please don't blame him. If you want to blame someone, blame Marquis Purple Robe's precious drunken immortal. Wine for being too strong. He kicked Jiang Tian's foot from below. In his spiritual sense he was about to cry. Brother, don't hurt me. Zi Yunxiao is a nascent soul cultivator. Even if there were 10 of me, I wouldn't be able to beat one of his fingers. He was really scared to the point of going crazy. It was to the extent that even eldest Princess Mou felt that Jiang Tian's words were a bit too arrogant. Her pretty face was slightly dignified. She followed Lin Yang's words and said meaningfully, Minister Jiang wants to liven things up for me. I appreciate your kind intentions, but this consort is also a bit tired from supervising their intense battle. This consort is mentally draining and I'm a bit tired. Next, let's change the taste and have some singing and dancing. I remember that the Southern Borders shuffle dance is very lively. Cough cough, my old arms and legs are a bit sore again. I want someone to massage my legs and shoulders again. Jiang Tian suddenly coughed lightly. He looked up at the sky and said inexplicably. Dongfang stared at Jiang Tian. Her beautiful eyes instantly curved into a cute crescent moon shape, and she directly spat out a mouthful of tea. Others might not know, but they knew very well. Jiang Tian was clearly threatening the eldest princess. If she dared to stop him, if she didn't allow him to fight, he would reveal the bet in front of everyone. He would make her massage his back and shoulders in public, making her lose face. For a moment, Lin Hanqing and his son were in a dilemma. They were helpless. Do you have to compete? Are you a fool? I'm afraid that you'll lose face, so I'm helping you find compensation. You have to force me to shut up. You have to ask for trouble. Eldest Princess Mou was so angry that she gritted her teeth and glared at Jiang Tian. She wished that she could swallow Jiang Tian alive. However, seeing Jiang Tian so determined, she could only chuckle and say, Sigh, forget it. Singing and dancing, music, and decadent music are indeed too cliché for a woman like me. Listening to them makes me sleepy. I'm more interested in a good man's fight. Then let's fight again. Chapter 1892. I'm here to cheer up Princess Royal and make her smile. Sure enough, Zi Yunxiao jumped onto the martial arts field and crossed the distance of a few miles in an instant, winning the cheers of the entire hall. Good. Beautiful. That movement technique is really beautiful. That's the movement technique of the purple cloud palm, cloud stepping steps. Marquis Zi Yunxiao like father like son. Zi Yunxiao has the style of his father. The dukes and heirs all cheered. Many of the heirs looked at Zi Yunxiao with complicated gazes of worship and fear. There was a feeling of yearning even though they couldn't reach him. In terms of strength, charm and bearing, Zi Yunxiao was indeed 1,000 times more outstanding than Li Ludao. He was comparable to the geniuses of the 4 marquis families, and was only second to the royal family's crown prince Dongfang Ding. Haha, although my son is not bad, it's all because of hard work. He can't compare to brother Lin's son, who reached the nascent soul stage in 4 months under the guidance of a famous teacher. That's like a fish leaping over the dragon gate, soaring to the sky. Purple Marquis laughed and glanced at Jiang Tian with a hint of mockery in his complacency. He was clearly saying that Jiang Tian was mediocre and eager for instant benefits. Although he had quickly increased Lin Yang's cultivation, his foundation was not solid enough. In the end, it was just an illusion. On the martial arts field, Zi Yunxiao's face was warm as he cupped his hands politely and said, Congratulations to brother Lin Yang for reaching the peak stage of the Golden Core stage. I'm willing to suppress my cultivation to the same level and spar with brother Lin Yang. I'll stop when the time is right, just to show the elegance of the heirs of the dukes, to promote martial arts and to make Princess Royal smile. His words were full of consideration, but there was a hint of killing intent in the depths of his eyes. This can I go? Lin Yang's face was pale and panicked. He pulled Jiang Tian's clothes and said pitifully, "I'll die if I go. Can't we just leave? I'm not afraid of being cursed. At worst, it's not like I've only been known as an incompetent hedonist for 1 or 2 days. Too much debt won't weigh me down." What Zi Yunxiao meant by suppressing his cultivation to the Golden Core realm was to not use his soul, laws, or forbidden domain. However, a soul was still a soul at the end of the day. Even his own true essence was 10 times thicker than a peak golden core. This was a qualitative change. It could be said that his words were pleasant to hear, but it was still a complete suppression. "Go up. He is no match for you," Jiang Tian said leisurely. In Jiang Tian's opinion, there were many problems with the east-rising purple qi, especially during the process of opening the dantian and acupoints, condensing the golden core, and transforming the dantian into a spirit embryo. There were many mistakes and unnecessary steps. After Jiang Tian improved the technique, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation speed increase, but his amethyst cloud palm and donghuang finger were also much faster. If a cultivator was a car, then a golden core would be the engine. True essence was provided by the golden core, gushing out from the dantian, and surging along the meridians to form an attack. The original technique in true essence seemed to have taken many rough and bumpy detours, but after the improvement, it was like a natural moat had become a smooth path, incomparably smooth. Therefore, in Jiang Tian's opinion, even if Zi Yunxiao's true essence was more abundant, it was like a vast ocean being blocked in a river. He could only use 1/100th of it. On the other hand, although Lin Yang's reserves of true essence were not as good as his, he had the upper hand. How could he not win? "Are you for real?" "I'm scared." Lin Yang drank a few mouthfuls of drunken immortal, as if to boost his courage. "Don't tell me you don't believe me?" Jiang Tian was a little annoyed. "When I met you in my previous life, you weren't so cowardly." On the stage, seeing that Lin Yang was still not going up, Zi Yunxiao smiled with his hands behind his back. "Brother Lin Yang, I've heard that you and Fang Goyu were childhood sweethearts, and that your love was as deep as the sea. But Fang Goyu is the daughter of a general, a dignified nascent soul cultivator. Not only is your cultivation poor, you're also as cowardly as a mouse. How can you be worthy of such a beauty? You're courting death." With these words, Lin Yang's eyes immediately turned cold, and an ominous glint shot out. It was as if the little white rabbit had turned into an ancient beast that could swallow the heavens and devour the earth. That's right. Since ancient times, phoenixes have been paired with dragons. How can there be a chicken paired with a phoenix? Lin Yang, if you don't dare to go up, then you're a cowardly rat. How can you be worthy of a phoenix in the sky? The Marquis of Shanshui was also crazily mocking Lin Yang from the side. That's right. The Marquis of Shanshui's analogy is wonderful. It's too vivid. A group of vassals of the Marquis of Purple Robes were all jeering. As for Lin Hanqing, Dong Fangying, and the eldest princess, when they heard this, they knew that it was going to be bad. Because Lin Yang and Fang Goyu's feelings were too deep, he would definitely fly into a rage for a beauty. "What are you being so arrogant for? I'll fight you today." Sure enough, Lin Yang smashed the wine cup on the ground, stood up, and flew onto the stage. "Haha, brother Lin Yang, that's a real man. Your spirit of not being afraid of death, I'm a little impressed." Seeing Lin Yang go up on stage, Zi Yunxiao's face also revealed a sinister smile. He looked at Jiang Tian and said with a smile, "Mr. Jiang, I have to thank you for this divine assistance. You sent this trash up on stage, so that I can beat him up and vent my anger for my brotherly Lu Dao." "Zi Yunxiao, you say that others are trash and you think that you're a genius. However, in my eyes, you're just trash. You're far inferior to Lin Yang." Jiang Tian was not polite with him and directly retorted. In his previous life, Jiang Tian had also been humiliated by him many times. However, at that time, Jiang Tian was just a small foundation establishment cultivator. How could he be his opponent? However, in this life, Jiang Tian had returned with the memories of 10,000 years of cultivation. He was incomparably powerful. There was no need for him to do anything. Just Lin Yang, who had been taught by him, would be able to torture him until he wished he was dead. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Good, good, good. Let's see how long you can be so rampant. Today, I'll first take care of Lin Yang, then I'll take care of you. Zi Yunxiao also gave a sinister smile. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. As he spoke, his feet moved slightly. His nascent soul trembled, and a huge amount of purple vital essence gushed out from his spirit embryo and meridians. They surrounded his body like purple true dragons. His entire body was covered in a dense purple aura like a divine cloud. Purple chi from the east, like a dragon coiling around his body. As expected of the number one genius among the heirs of the southern feudal lords. Dharma. This is the golden core Dharma. Most importantly, these true dragons seem to be corporeal. They're incomparably solid and have the aura of an emperor. It can be said that Zi Yunxiao has grasped the true essence and profound meaning of the Eastern Purple Qi technique. Everyone clicked their tongues and sighed in amazement. Even Lin Hanqing and many other soul formation stage feudal lords were ashamed of their inferiority. When they were in the golden core stage, they did not have such an aura. Lin Yang snorted coldly. He stood still according to the footwork that Jiang Tian had taught him. His eyes narrowed slightly like an old monk in meditation. Lin Yang, are you not going to kneel down and beg for mercy? Don't tell me that you're not afraid of death at all. Zi Yunxiao saw that Lin Yang did not cower even after he had displayed his vital essence and dharma. He could not help but sneer disdainfully. Afraid? If I was afraid, I wouldn't have gone up on stage. Lin Yang suppressed the fear and nervousness in his heart, and said through gritted teeth. Today he was burdened with the glory of his clan, Fang Goyu's feelings, and Jiang Tian's expectations. If he cowered, then he was not a man. If the 13 small cities around Jianghan City were to fall into the hands of the Marquis of Zhenyuan's Lin family, it would form an encirclement around Jianghan City, and the Marquis of Purple Robe, which would be equivalent to choking the other party's throat. As long as the other party made the slightest move, they could attack with all their might. This was a great thing for Zhenyuan Ho and even for the empire. Good. I promise you. This matter was of great importance. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao did not speak immediately. However, below the stage, the Marquis of Purple Robe pondered for a while, then laughed sinisterly and directly made the decision. Good, the Marquis does not joke. Then I will be the witness. Grand Princess Mo also laughed tenderly. At this moment, everyone felt that this banquet was strange and treacherous. Each of the Marquis and their successors tensed up and stared unblinkingly at the stage. Even Grand Princess Mo's heart was beating wildly. This was not a contest between the Marquis successors, nor was it a mock exam of the hidden dragon trials. It was a contest between the Marquis of Purple Robe, Lin Hanqing and Jiang Tian. It was the prelude to the struggle for hegemony, and the prelude to the great turmoil of the empire. Haha, just because you found a trash-loose cultivator from outside the river to be your teacher, you are not my opponent. On the stage, Zi Yunxiao finally made his move. He laughed loudly and stepped on the ground. The purple qi around his body turned into two streams of qi. The purple qi was like a pair of wings on his back, and he suddenly shot up 1,000 meters into the sky. The purple qi circulated, true yuan flowed, and an angry dragon roared. Zi Yunxiao's fingertips seemed to be entwined with lightning and fire. There was a faint purple qi attached to it, giving people a shocking pressure. A sword from the west. Zi Yunxiao used the Eastern Emperor finger, condensing qi into qi. Qi, qi, qi. The purple true yuan condensed into flying swords, almost ignoring the rules of the void. They formed strange streamlines and shot towards Lin Yang like a torrential downpour. There was no way to dodge. Flying fire meteor. The purple qi was like a star. Zi Yunxiao flicked his fingers and moved them as if they were flying. For a moment, a rain of swords flew in the air like flying fire meteors. They locked onto the 100-meter space and covered the entire battlefield. Strange, strange, why is his speed so slow? Is he a snail? The moment he used his cultivation technique, Lin Yang suddenly had a very strange feeling. It was as if the entire world was moving in slow motion, and everything had slowed down. The rain of swords that were originally shooting wildly and difficult to see accurately were like pieces of feathers that slowly floated down. The trajectory and loopholes of their movement were all clearly visible. However, he immediately realized that this was the result of his cultivation method circulating faster, and his divine sense becoming sharper and more intuitive. Brother Zhang's cultivation technique was too miraculous. He was overjoyed, but Lin Yang's reaction was very fast. He took a step forward and his body exploded into the air. Like a true dragon twisting in the air, he moved at unbelievable angles, refracting through the attacks. Like an antelope, he nimbly dodged the rain of swords and meteors, instantly closing in on Zi Yunxiao to 100 meters away. "Look at my finger, I'll shoot your right arm." Lin Yang slowly let out a strange howl and pointed with his finger. "Chi. What? His speed is actually so terrifying." Seeing Lin Yang rapidly approaching him from the sky, Zi Yunxiao was already terrified. When he heard Lin Yang's words and wanted to dodge, he felt a sharp pain in his right arm. Lin Yang's finger had already hit his right arm. "Shoot your left knee." Zi Yunxiao felt a sharp pain in his left knee. Blood flowed out. It was obvious that he had been hit again. Damn it! When did the Eastern Emperor finger's speed become so fast? Zi Yunxiao gritted his teeth in disbelief. "Shoot your third rib on the left. Shoot your right shoulder blade. Shoot your left ankle." The more Lin Yang attacked, the more carefree he became. It was as if he was reciting a book. When he spoke, the finger light would hit. Every single one of his fingers was like a celestial that had descended from the heavens, ethereal and indestructible. It was also like a skilled butcher dismembering an ox, instantly destroying all of Zi Yunxiao's imperceptible tiny openings. Every time he called out a position, Zi Yunxiao would be flustered, but he could not dodge a single attack. How frustrating! Zi Yunxiao was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. In terms of cultivation, he was a nascent soul cultivator, and his opponent was only a golden core cultivator. In terms of finger strength, he felt that he was 10 times stronger than his opponent. In terms of movement, he was also far stronger than his opponent. However, against a golden core cultivator, he felt like he was being suppressed everywhere. He could only passively take a beating. It was as if his every move was predicted by his opponent. His every weak point was in his opponent's eyes. His opponent's every move was not fast, but he was always able to predict his opponent's moves and suppress him in advance. The more Zi Yunxiao fought, the more frustrated he felt. At the same time, he had to admit that if his opponent's finger strength was just a little bit stronger, his spirit embryo would have been destroyed and he would have become a cripple. The circulation of the Eastern Purple Qi technique has also been changed, but it seems to be smoother and smoother. Yeah. How can he see the flaws in these techniques? He's a genius. Heaven-defying. Too heaven-defying. At this moment, everyone turned pale with fright. They turned to look at Jiang Tian in disbelief. Everyone knew that Lin Yang's cultivation was taught by Jiang Tian. The Eastern Purple Qi technique he cultivated was also modified by Jiang Tian. If Lin Yang was the actor in this fight, then Jiang Tian was the director of this show. He was the true master behind the scenes. Without a single word, he was completely dissolute. Chapter 1894. Not a single word, yet he's so outstanding. At this moment, everyone had such a feeling towards Jiang Tian. They were all shocked and in disbelief. Generally speaking, cultivation that was increased by secret techniques or pills was like a sand castle. Although it was magnificent, it could not withstand the wind and rain. A single wave would turn it into dust. However, not only did Lin Yang's cultivation increase rapidly, his battle strength was also vigorous and solid. He could even beat Zi Yunxiao, who was at the nascent soul stage. This was too heaven-defying. Do you still want to fight? On the stage, Lin Yang suddenly stopped his attack and flew backwards. He looked at Zi Yunxiao from afar and sneered. You. At this moment, Zi Yunxiao was covered in blood and was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled, and he no longer had the demeanor of the #1 genius of the southern border. He was like a beggar on the street. I don't accept this. He gritted his teeth and his face was twisted as he glared at Lin Yang with hatred. He was unable to accept the fact that the good-for-nothing silk pants that he had mocked and ridiculed all day had actually defeated him in front of the eldest princess, in front of everyone, in front of all the vassals. Moreover, he had lost so miserably and thoroughly that he did not even have the strength to fight back. You don't accept this? Then let's fight again. Lin Yang took a stance and his battle intent surged as he soared into the sky. Ziyunxiao, back down. You've lost. However, Zishan hurriedly shouted. He had already seen that the improved version of Lin Yang's cultivation method and combat skills completely occupied the dominant position, and was in a crushing position. If they continued fighting, Ziyunxiao would not have the slightest chance of turning the situation around. Instead, he would be more heavily injured, and this would affect his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials. He might even be at the bottom. Following Purple Marquis's roar, the battle finally came to an end. Yes, father. Ziyunxiao gritted his teeth and jumped off the stage with a face full of humiliation. Feeling humiliated, he did not greet the crowd and entered a cultivation room with a gloomy face. He silently swallowed pills and healed his injuries. It's over? He won. Is this my useless playboy son? He actually defeated the genius Ziyunxiao. Lin Hanqing was dumbfounded and could not believe it. This Ziyunxiao actually lost. The Marquis of Purple Robe, the Marquis of Shanshui, and the other lackeys were also in disbelief. However, in contrast to Lin Hanqing's ecstasy, Purple Marquis and the others looked as if they had lost their parents. First of all, there was a wager. The 13 small cities around Jianghan City not only represented a considerable amount of wealth and vast land, but also restricted Jianghan City. Secondly, Ziyunxiao was already injured. Even though they were all external injuries and didn't harm the foundation of his spirit embryo, his performance in the Hidden Dragon trials would definitely be affected. His battle prowess would plummet, and his ranking would plummet as well. This would affect the influence of Purple Robe Marquis. It could be said that Purple Marquis had suffered the most losses in this battle. As for the Marquis of Shanshui, his face was ashen. Although he was Purple Marquis's supporter and henchman, his relationship with Purple Marquis was not good enough for Purple Marquis to take out money to support him. Without the herb garden in Tiger Head Ridge, Li Ludao was destined to fail miserably in the following Hidden Dragon trials. His title and land would be taken away, and he would become a loner. Sometimes death wasn't scary at all. However, the most painful thing was to wait helplessly for death to come. However, the one who was most shocked was Princess Mou. The battle between Lin Yang and Li Ludao was won by an instant kill. There was no exchange of blows, so what was shown was only the tip of the iceberg of the improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. However, this time with Ziyunxiao, they had exchanged many blows. And it was also a more complete demonstration of Jiang Tian's improved Eastern Purple Qi technique. Princess Mou had been using this technique as her main cultivation method since she was young. She had cultivated it for 100 years, so including Purple Cloud Palm and Eastern Imperial Finger, she could be said to be very familiar with them. However, she didn't notice any of these flaws. However, after this battle, she realized that these cultivation methods and martial skills did indeed have a huge flaw, a fatal flaw. And Jiang Tian, on the other hand, saw through them like a fire. He found all the flaws in this technique and its supporting techniques. And Lin Yang was using these flaws to win with skill, to defeat the strong with the weak, and to turn the tables. The key was that the speed of his true essence was 10 times or 100 times faster than before, and his combat strength had also increased by a lot. It could be said that Jiang Tian had turned this set of cultivation method and the 2 sets of battle skills into something magical, reaching an unimaginable height. And the precise understanding of cultivation, the knowledge from a strategically advantageous position, and the broad vision reflected in this simply made Princess Mou gasp in amazement and admire him to the extreme. This little brat is simply too heaven-defying. Could it be that he is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty, or a saint who was reincarnated, or even an almighty from the immortal world who descended to the mortal world? Princess Mou's clear and beautiful eyes were fixed on Jiang Tian's indifferent side profile. Because of her excitement, her full chest rose and fell violently. Princess Mou was excited for a reason. If these improved techniques were obtained by the imperial family, once they were spread among the imperial family and the nobles, the strength of the empire would rapidly increase. Of course, this was also an effective way for the imperial family to win over the hearts of the people and increase their cohesion. Who didn't want to become stronger? Who didn't want to control more territory and power? And if he wanted to cultivate this improved heaven-defying technique, he had to be loyal to the imperial power. Mr. Jiang is so powerful. Princess Dongfang, on the other hand, cheered in the midst of the silence. She was so excited that her face was flushed red. She waved her fists and her beautiful eyes curved into a beautiful crescent moon shape. She looked at Jiang Tian with admiration written all over her face. This tender voice called out, breaking the silence of the scene. The scene was in an uproar as all the vassals and heirs began to whisper to each other and discuss. Lin Yang fought beautifully. Genius. In today's battle, he suppressed all the heroes and defeated the genius. He can be said to be the #1 genius of our southern border. Some of the vassals were shocked and sighed with emotion. Bullshit. He's just a mediocre person. The real genius is that Mr. Jiang, turning something rotten into something magical, carving rotten wood into a genius. Some of the vassals immediately corrected him. Their tone was also sour. That's right, that's true. This Mr. Jiang is simply skilled and has a keen eye. His understanding of the 3 techniques is unfathomable, and he can see all the loopholes and inadequacies clearly. That's right. Once improved, he can find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. It's like changing a set of techniques, reaching the limit and ascending to the heavens. Sigh. How can the Lin family of the Zhenyuan Marquis be so lucky? With my son's talent, if he were to be guided by such a master, wouldn't he soar to the heavens? Many of the vassals' gazes fell on Jiang Tian with traces of greed. It was as if they were misers who had seen a treasure and couldn't wait to pick it up and run away. Mr. Jiang, this humble one has the utmost respect for you. I wonder if you can condescend to be a guest lecturer in my residence and guide my good-for-nothing children. The remuneration is easy to negotiate. The price is 3 or even 4 times that of the Zhenyuan Marquis. I have always been courteous to the wise. Some people were only moved, while others directly took action. Immediately, Marquis Qingshan, who was seated, stood up and walked to Jiang Tian with a cup in both hands. He bowed respectfully and drained the cup in one gulp, throwing out an olive branch. What courteous to the wise. Is our Mr. Jiang a corporal? He's a genuine expert. Look at your high and mighty appearance, putting on the airs of a vassal. Not only Marquis Qingshan, but another Marquis Blackwind, also quickly walked over and frantically undermined his competitors. Then, with a face full of joy, he said, "If Mr. Jiang is willing to grace my residence with your presence, I'm willing to call you brother and be sworn brothers. I'll help you compete for the position of Marquis." You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.